Hello, my name is Marcus. I'm the compiler of a collection of therapy quotes entitled 1001 Windmills of the Mind, a collection of advanced self-help quotes taken from what's often called the psychodynamic or the psychoanalytic perspective, which long ago, as I understand it, was referred to by some as philosophical medicine or narrative medicine. Once again, to borrow a line from the singer Steve Perry, was a song entitled For the Love of Strange Medicine. So, for the love of narrative medicine, I find these 10,000 quotes to be a source of hope and inspiration mainly because of the idea that they're analytical, i.e. It's that twilight-ish kind of zone where you're in the process to make something unknown about yourself known to you, make the unconscious conscious. So these quotes are all kind of like Twilight Zone quotes. I mention that phrase because for the past month I've been talking about the Twilight Zone series, and so there's a lot of great episodes on that show. And a lot of duds, of course, and a lot of but there are some really good psychologically minded, therapeutically minded Twilight Zone episodes. For example, Wong's Lost and Found Emporium. That's my favorite so far, and the Saturday one is pretty good. It was done cynically, but if you put aside the cynicism of the presentation, but the message was pretty good about the Saturday, meaning the healing journey can be subdivided into 7 parts, each part named after the days of the week. Someday, Monday, Tuesday, Wound Day, Thorn Day, Free Day, and Saturday, meaning the false self is finally shatters away, dissolves away, Saturday, meaning like that. So that takes a good hour to run through that one. So it starts with someday. You want to face this someday thing where something in the present can be mother's love in the past. What? People have this fantasy and this hope that something in the present that's symbolic or representative of mother, maternal, or money, material, cookies, food, might be mother's love that was needed back in the past. Doesn't make sense, but the unconscious doesn't think in a sensical way, right? The unconscious has what's called primary mentation, primary process thinking. There's no time in there. There's no time in there. There's a thing called repetition compulsion. If there's trauma, we repeat to get the needs met. So when there's trauma, we live with the unconscious hope for the fulfillment of those old unfulfilled needs. Because the child's in pain, it's like a thorn, he's stuck there. He can't have his beingness as a part of him. That's the image of Snow White in a coffin in a box in the forest. So Snow White is a personification, like a picture, a metaphor, a symbol, picture, as code for our sense of beingness. So if she's in a coma in a box far away, our beingness doesn't touch us. Well, there's a wall there. We don't feel our beingness. To boot, she's in a coma like that. Emotional hypothermia, emotional catatonia, emotional hypothermia. The jargon is flat affect. One image is the pin in the collar from the Maiden King story. So the pin is the collar, so the emotional body's flat. Another one is athymolexia, no feelings for your words. In 73, a guy named Sifnios did a variation of that phrase called alexithymia. Well, what about no words for your feelings? Because you have no feelings for your words, right? Kind of. So that's sort of the issue right there, right off the bat. That if the child's traumatized, his emotional, his sense of beingness, his ontological self, his feeling self, his embodiment, his home within, his midnight blue, Lou Graham calls it the feminine element, the feminine principle. Okay, it's your at home within kind of quality. We live to the extent that we feel at home within. We feel our authentic identity, our true identity, our real self-identity comes like that, right? In the Maiden King story, the soul or the beingness was called Maiden King, and she was a pretty princess, all with gold all around. But due to the trauma, she morphed into a swan and flew away. So our beingness is lost. Go I know not whither, and bring back I know not what. Go past the thrice times 10 times something land to the 11th ocean, some unknown kind of thing. Okay, so our beingness, the loss of our beingness, our home within, our ontological self, our feeling self, okay, can be symbolized by Snow White in a coffin, Rapunzel in the tower, the Maiden King flying away. Okay, the golden ball goes down the well. Miss Cora in the Greek myth, she's walking on the field there. Earth opens up, she gets pulled out into the unconscious. Gets pulled down, and so on and so forth. So myths and fairy tales are code for psychological trauma. The main core trauma we're dealing with is this who am I thing. You are your authentic self, plus a little bit of your false self, but you're mainly your authentic self. But that's lost. Oh my God. So where is that kind of thing? Go, I know not whither, bring back, I know not what. So at midlife, this is the task of midlife. The task of midlife is to get back our authentic self. That's called the second half of life, the second journey, the hero's journey, or the midlife audit, the midlife examination period. Okay, so the recognition that something's missing. So usually people at midlife say things like, well, I would say that episode in The Twilight Zone where the guy said, he's a billionaire, owns everything, controls everything, he even pays for all the puppets around him and all that. So he's in total power control and all this. And that guy in one of the episodes, this guy, whatever, head of that or whatever, he said, gee, I got everything, but I don't know what it is. Ennui fills my days and nights, he said. Ennui. It's beyond boredom, right? Because he had a hope that being greedy might win mother's love, or treating others the way he was treated. Maybe magically his mother in the mind will correct what had happened. Doesn't make sense, right? But we have this kind of hope for mother's love, you see. Now, when you're dysfunctional, you're denying that she hurt you because you're loyal to her. The dysfunction means you're loyal to the abusive mother. You're loyal to her, thinking the pain from her is her love, and you want to save her, fix her, cure her, heal her, please her, placate her, control her, make her be a loving mother. The baby's desperate to have a loving mother. And if the baby's born, the mother's emotionally unavailable, she's impaired, she's got too much pain from her past, she never felt loved herself, how can she give it if she never had it or felt it? Plus, the mother may not have the psychic structure, okay, like an internal working model in her mind, some kind of model to be able to love. So the model needed for a mother to love her baby is what's called a self-representation that differentiated, distinct out of the original symbiotic oneness that all babies feel with their mother. So when the mother herself was a baby and born to her mother, okay, that daughter and her mother psychologically were kind of one. So if that daughter, if this baby was loved, she can feel safe to have a distinct identity, an authentic identity that hatches out of the two being one. Like a metaphor is like a psychological egg. You can hatch out of the egg like that. That's the basic psychic structure needed to then be able to love her baby. But if she didn't get that, she's stuck in the tar pit of a negative fusion with the mother. She becomes the mother. And when there's so much pain with the mother, this mother becomes her mother. And then she imitates her, mimics her, placates her by imitating her. Because maybe that mother wanted supply from her daughter. So the daughter says, fine, I'll make this deal with you. Famous deal with the, who, right? Faustian pact like this, discussed yesterday. So the daughter will imitate the mother and have that kind of power like that. But the thing is that the painful price for this, she's got to shame herself the way the mother shamed her. So when this daughter grows up, has a baby, all right, baby, I'm the aggressor now. I got to repeat what happened to me. I don't emotionally know time. All time is that same time. The trauma takes place in the brain where there's no time. Yes, materially, the mother understands that when she has a baby, it's her baby and she's in the present. But she's going to relate to it in correspondence, or she's driven by the pain she's in. So because of the pain she in, I think that freezing, that silent scream, Edward Munch scream painting, that's what she's kind of, this frozen scream like that with it. She's in an immense amount of pain like that. How can she relax on her baby? So because of the pain, that's trauma. So when there's trauma, we repeat. So when the mother has a baby, it's as if she says to the baby, "Baby, I can't relax to love you. I see that you're my baby and all that, but I'm sorry. I had this compulsion to repeat what happened to me with some fantasy I can get a better outcome, change the outcome, placate my mother, please her, not feel guilty or something, or get win mother's love. I got to repeat the thing. But here's the thing, baby. I've become her. I've mainly become her. So the original scene was, baby, I cried for love. My mother said no. Okay, that was too painful, so I became her. Now I say no to myself. That's also too painful. Now here you are on the scene. That's very helpful for me, baby. I'm going to use you. Okay, I'm not going to relate to you or love you, nothing like that. I'm going to exploit my power because I'm desperate. I'm in pain. I got to get a better outcome. So you play the role of me crying for love. I play the shaming mother says no to me. You play me, so I say no to you. Okay. Now I'm still saying no to myself, but when I say no to you, thinking you're me, it distracts me from feeling the pain of me saying no to me the way my mother said no to me. So I just want to minimize feeling the pain of it, make myself unaware of it. So if I shame you, it distracts me. Okay, it's called externalization. It's called scapegoating. It's called so on. Oh, suddenly. Yeah, I'm having another little slightly off day here, so my usual upbeat enthusiasm is kind of missing today. Yesterday was a little better, I thought. I've done some upbeat, fun videos. I've done some sluggish videos like this one today. However, the delivery comes across. The quotes are posted below, and that's really the focus between each person and the quotes. It's not about, I am not a shrink, I'm not a professor, I'm not a midwife, doula, nutritionist, gynecologist, cultural anthropologist, chemist, biologist, medical, you know, I'm not, none of these. I do have a BA, which is, I guess, better than nothing. So I'm the compiler of the quotes. I'm simply the compiler of the quotes, and I have not been analyzed. I don't have the benefit of really coming from a place of having been analyzed to help analyze others. I haven't done it. So I'm just first things first. I'm still trying to learn this kind of this kind of attitude that the shrinks have, this kind of mentalizing capacity, this kind of deep empathy, kind of, you know, seeing the third side of the coin, looking for patterns. What are you repeating? What are your fantasies? How are you stuck? Why are you afraid to love life in the present? Why does a mother shame her baby? Why doesn't a mother love her baby? Like, so this kind of perspective, I try to understand trauma. So the key phrase here is 2 words: attachment, trauma. Attachment, trauma. The baby wants to attach, but the whole thing is traumatic. It's a failed attachment. Okay, it's a traumatic attachment. So there's branches of it. There's the reactive. There's the disassociative, the anxious, avoidant, unformulated, and so on and so forth. So he does attach to the mother somehow, but it's very painful. It's a trauma bond like that. So the cost is, if it's very severe, i.e. before 18 months of age, he makes that crossover. He makes that deal, the Faustian deal like that, called identification with the aggressor. He's going to mimic the mother, be the mother, forget about himself. He'll see his self to not be aware of his shame self, too much pain like that. He'll find proxies and believe that others are him, and he'll shame himself by seeing himself into others and shaming others. So for example, he's got to shame someone else to not feel that he's shaming himself. He is shaming himself, but he needs someone to shame to make him unaware that he's shaming himself. It's like a distraction trick, you know, like a little sleight of mind kind of thing called projection, externalization. So his attention is out, is not aware that it's within. This is called externalized living or externalization like that. He has a paucity of love inside, a paucity of inner experience. He can't be with, doesn't have a beingness. He's empty like that. So he's always got to out all the time. So he's very outer focused. He blames everyone and everyone's no good. He sees everyone like himself. Everyone's either, he felt no good, mother's dangerous. So he thinks everyone's no good and everyone's dangerous. Because he's still in the oneness phase with the breast mother. So in the beginning, the baby's one with the breast. They're kind of one like that. Okay, so when the baby's nursing all that, the theory is it's called undifferentiation. Psychologically speaking, he doesn't quite yet get, where he ends and begins, where the breast mother ends and begins. He's kind of carrying on with what he thought the situation was for him in the uterus, floating around in this uterus world. And it's blissful, and he thinks, geez, it's just him in there. He's trapped in the mirror, I guess, like this little bubble, solipsistic little fantasy like this, where it's all him. He's the center, he's the king, he's a god, it's all about him. Either he's a self, either he's infantile megalomania, meaning the power of the mother is his power, so he's infantile megalomania. He's like a little god like that. Now there's no time and there's no space. He's floating around and he feels bliss, by the way. It's an oceanic feeling, oceanic blissful oneness. One guy calls it oceanic ecstasy. So blissed out like this. Jesus, eh? In other words, the baby doesn't get yet that he's a person inside his mother who's a person. There's two people like that. He didn't reach this level of person-to-person status. Right? He's just some kind of godlike, king-like entity or something, and he's self-sufficient, he's autocratic, infantile megalomania, unconditional hallucinatory omnipotence, like a magic sorcerer or something. His needs are automatically met. Doesn't even have to say he needs something. It's just automatically met. Like, wow, he's so important or something. Or the other version of it is maybe he senses that he's a little king and everything around him is just there to serve him. Aha. So whatever's around him is just the thing that serves him. He's like a king like that and everything serves him. So there's two versions of it like that. Yeah, but now when he's born, this attitude is still there. For the first 4 to 5 months, the theory is, for the first 4 to 5 months, the baby is in an extended social womb, interpersonal womb. That psychology is still kind of there, more or less, where he thinks it's all about him, he's the center. Okay, think about so if there's a trauma there, it leads to narcissism, right? So think about narcissism. They make everything about them, they're the center, they're entitled, they own others are things which they own, and so if they're in narcissism, they always want supply, thinking that if others don't meet their supply needs, that others are part of them, misbehaving, they get enraged, and if they don't get the supply, they feel like they had no mother, that's why the rage is there. Okay, so they're coming, so go back to the baby. The baby is in a oneness with the breast mother concept. He thinks he owns the breast, it's a thing of his, and it's not even a person. He doesn't think that the breast is a part of the mother and the mother's a person. He doesn't reach that person-to-person status yet, right? So he's just a little king, and the breast is like a thing that's there to serve him. And it's just one way, and he's entitled. It's all about him, he's the center, it's all about him. And that's the natural state of affairs, of course. And if the mother fails in this area, oh my God. Yeah, there'll be an underpinning of narcissism in one of the sting of personality patterns that develop when there's trauma before 18 months. So the core of narcissism is they didn't get the oneness. They didn't get that symbiotic fusion where the mother functions as a symbiotic object for the baby, a self-object for the baby. Okay, it failed. The attunement was broken. The bond was broken. It was a painful bond. There wasn't a secure, i.e. the mother wasn't attuned. She didn't understand the baby signals. This can take place if the cords are moved and all that. That's why it's so important to leave the cord, leave the placenta, leave the smells, hand the baby to the bosom, and skin to skin, natural feeding, loving gaze, warm embrace. The connection of the nerve lines in the body-to-body communication, loving eye communication, it allows the mother, it clicks in for the mother to understand and be attuned to the baby's signals. Then she responds naturally with her motherly instinct like that. But if the baby's removed, washed up, put a towel around, handed back, it's all broken, it's all gone. And mother can try her best. Some others may be able to reestablish the oneness, but usually they can't. That's why Klaus and Kennel made a big point about the time sensitivity of birth, because the mother produces all these bonding hormones, attachment hormones, love hormones at the moment of birth. So why are you moving the baby? Well, because the theory is they want, the consequence, if the baby's removed for a few minutes, the hormones go away, then that time sensitivity is missed. And plus he's washed up and the hormones are gone. Plus the baby always terrified because the cords are moved. He thinks he's falling. Where's the spiritual power source? The placenta is like the spiritual guardian for the baby. He's removed from the mother, lost the cord to the placenta, lost the bonding link, the hormones, put on a scale or something maybe, and that's just to make time pass. Some babies are separated even further, and some babies unfortunately are inflicted severe pain. Jesus, kind of like to make sure there's no bond with the mother, like in the farms or something, they pull the baby cow out. They don't want the calf to bond with the mother because it's emotional, so they remove the baby quickly or something. They never get a chance to bond or something. Like these kind of awful things that are going on. This is a disturbance from 10,000 years ago. 10,000 years ago, this very disturbed, confused, panic. It seems to be an accident that 10,000 years ago, babies were removed from the mother. That's the first time this ever took place. This is not natural. This is a perversion, disturbance, some kind of panic around our discoveries 10,000 years ago. The brain chemistry we got, the serotonin we got, and then by the discoveries, then you wanted more. Then you wanted to, so we went from village to pillage, global village to global pillage. But how do you pillage? Well, traumatize the baby. He'll think that his home was robbed, so he'll go and rob other people's homes. As above, so below. So he'll rob other people's homes as a reflection of his inner state. The inner state, the psychology inwardly, is that when he's removed, he thought that someone took away his home. He becomes that something, and then spends his life repeating what happened to them. So whatever's out there, okay, somebody's home, what's mine? The way the mother did it to him. Okay, so there's a thing called as above, so below, that the things we're doing outwardly is a reflection of our inner state. Like if we polluted on the planet, well, that's a reflection of our inner state that we felt shame with the mother. Okay, if we didn't get enough nourishment and good food with the mother, well, we destroy the food on the planet as a reflection that we didn't get nourished properly, enough nutrients to the mother properly. So whatever happens psychologically, inwardly, it's going to be reflected outwardly, okay, as above, so below. And we're doing it to know the inner state. So all these, like the baby feels emotional poverty, identifies with aggressive, give others poverty. Okay, that's a reflection of their inner poverty, right? And there's a whole area, we have a special sort of separate video called the 48 Symptoms of Homo Traumicus. The last time we ran through the list, it's 2745 part 3 of 3. It's a 7.5 hour video. It badly needs a huge update. So there's a lot of material there. Yeah, geez, I don't think I have the mood and energy to kind of do it any kind of justice here today. But just think about that. Here's the exercise. Whatever you see outwardly going on, that's harmful or you don't like, it's some kind of communication or reflection of our inner state, and this inner state was set down by the original interaction with the mother. Human connections lead to neural connections. If the baby's nursing with a rubber nipple, okay, that's like a thing. It's rejecting him. It's cold. There's no attunement. He feels shamed by that. So he felt thingified or something. He felt like mother didn't see him as a person. So he feels, it doesn't feel like a person like that. He identifies with that kind of attitude on him, and then treats others that way. So he won't care about the rejection onto others. That's a 7.5 hour video. Jeepers. The food's a big one. The pollution's a big one. Breaking the ecology, diversity. There's the jungle slogans, of course, and operating out of survival mentality. Because if the feeling self, if the embodiment's all frozen up, you go back to the primitive brain, okay, the brain stem, the amygdala, and that brain stem amygdala system, part of the brain, only cares about reproduction and survival. That's it. the feeling that the humans and the mammals, okay, the mammalians and the hominids, Homo sapiens, people, right? We have bodies and feelings. We're warm, okay, affection, tenderness, creativity, spontaneity, play, joy, be able to mourn losses. All of the joy for which you pray is 100 tears away. Crocodiles don't do that, right? Humans can do that kind of thing. So that's all frozen. So you're operating out of that part of the brain that only has this, and all the energy, all your life force is in this psychological memory, in the survival time where there's no time, in the survival brain where there's no time, where mother hurts you and you got to imitate her, see others as you shame them the way mother shamed you, because others will cry for you and you're the mother who says no to you. Your mother said no to you, so you become the no mother. You find others to stand in for your innocence who want something and you say no to them, okay? And then insult to injury, flip-flop, hocus-pocus, shape-shifting in that mind. Alice says up is down and the cat says it's all the matter there. Okay, in the dream world, primary myth and fairy tale, primary process mentation, primary thinking. This kind of mentation is visual, it's wildly exaggerated. So myths and fairy tales are productions of the primary mentation like that, this dream world area, and there's no like conscious, reasonable logic like that. So that's why things can flip-flop and shift, and because the fusion's still there, things are topsy-turvy. So when a baby is traumatized by his mother, okay, and that baby becomes like the mother, mimics her, thinks like her, acts like her, that's what happens with trauma. It's called identification with the aggressor, or the Faustian deal. It's the same idea. So he becomes the aggressor like that. Okay, now that allows him some kind of excitement that he'll be the active one, but the deal is he's got to actively shame himself. But so how is that? What kind of deal is that? Well, it allows him to shame others, because if he's going to be the active one, makes that deal, then he'll be shaming others to make them unaware that he's shaming himself. And this is whitewashing the mother's crime. This is all dysfunction is whitewashing your mother's lovelessness. Okay, yesterday's quote, a key one from yesterday. Let's do that one here. A key one from yesterday. Okay, those who are dysfunctional, whatever bullying behavior, narcissistic behavior, lower functioning BPD behavior, any kind of jungle mentality, oppositional thinking, adversarial, all of this disturb, all of these kind of anything like that. Okay, that means when that's taking place, then there's a whitewashing of their parents' loveless behavior. Okay, so those who hurt others are whitewashing their parents' loveless behavior. Again, those who hurt others, that against others, so it's all that schadenfreude humor, dark humor, put down humor, insult humor, saying they're no good, this, that. Okay, you're talking about yourself, by the way, right? You're talking about yourself, frozen child construct, which you see onto others. Remember, you feel the shame self and the shaming mother. Okay, that's your kind of two parts of your belief about yourself when there's severe trauma. Now, everyone is you. Okay, so you think everyone is shamed and no good, shamed or shaming. So you feel shamed and shaming. You play the shaming one, and you're shamed one. You see others. You want others to stand in for your shame self, okay, and you repeat the thing. Your shame self, i.e., the other one who you see as the no good one, is crying for love. You say no. That's part A. Part B. Flip flop, hocus pocus. Because the baby truly is angry at the mother. As he's shaming the innocent person, playing his soul, he thinks the innocent person flip-flops to his mother, who's hurting him. Now he'll be angry at the one he just shamed, thinking he's back in the original place where he wants to control the mother. Again, the baby, when he's hurt by the mother, the baby ends up with a fantasy. He feels like a hungry wolf. He wants to devour the mother, possess the mother, control the mother, to have a mother, make her be a stable mother. He's desperate. The baby's desperate to have some kind of stable, consistent, loving mother. He's just being abused by her. He's being attacked by her. The baby's fighting back, kind of thing. He has an image now of he's like a hungry wolf. The mother's a bigger hungry wolf, and it's a real conflict like this. So this is like a survival area here, right? A baby's trying to survive like this. So identification with the aggressor. He'll become the mother image like that, the bigger hungry wolf image like that. Now the little hungry wolf image will be frozen, I guess, basically. Let's stick with Miss Golem's construct. I went through it yesterday. Okay, so the interpersonal leads to the intrapsychic, an internal working model, schemata, blueprint, working model, intrapsychic setup, template, it's seared in, it's burned in. It's your blueprint, your understanding of, that's what you're going to use to understand the world. Because the breast represents the world to the baby. Baby's very tender and everything's so malleable. He's wiring in his understanding of the world with his, the mother's the prototype of the world. So he's wiring in his understanding of the world by the mother, and it's set in there. So then he's going to see everything, he's going to see all of his tomorrows through the lens of that yesterday time. So he'll wrench the present to fit the past. He'll distort, twist, cherry pick, selective omission, make up, hallucinate, ignore, filter out, whatever. He'll just do whatever all kind of tricks you got to do. Okay, parataxic distortion. He'll distort this, twist, flip, distort, make up, believe, omit, negate, twist, flip. He's got to do whatever he's got to do to see somehow that that the present is still the past. The present is still the past. He's going to twist his understanding of the present as a new edition of the past. He wants to see the present as a new edition of the past. He wants to stay in the past. He's got pain in the past. It's unresolved with the mother. It's unfinished business with the mother. So he's not going to really love life in the present, enjoy the present. He doesn't care like that. He doesn't care about the effects on people in the present. He's got to get out of the pain. You know, another one from yesterday. Let's see. Your behavior, your effects on others are less important to you than your need to repeat the past. So they don't even care the effects on others. They don't care how they're distorting the reality. They don't care. They want to change the past. They want to undo the past, correct the past, get a better past, get a past where their mother loved them so they can be themselves, get out of the pain. They're in immense pain. Remember, they're screaming like inwardly. Think about the power of that Edward Munch painting. That's as clear as it gets. And he's screaming like that. He's not going to think about anything else. He's not going to think about hurting others like that. Can I make a little footnote? Just before coming out, I saw, I don't really talk about current events, but yeah, this quote reminds me about I saw one of the puppet kind of characters. It was very clear, very empty, shallow, very hollow character. Oh my God, very hollow. I don't know what it is. And it was very clear, to me at least, that the only thing that was important to this puppet speaker, to sound important, I gotta be important. I just want to be important. Okay, meaning infantile megalomania. Okay, infantile megalomania. I'm a god, I'm a king, I'm important. That's all he saw. That's all he thought about. That's only the solipsistic bubble like that. He's addicted. It's a little white flower. He's addicted. He's addicted to this, how important I am, how important I am. And he didn't care about the effects of what he was saying, didn't care about the effects of what might happen from what he's saying. Oblivious, irrelevant, doesn't notice it, doesn't care. He's addicted, like a drug person, just like a schizophrenic, delusional, and he's just in this solipsistic bubble. And he's so hollow and so shallow and oblivious to what he was saying. And I thought, and my first thought was, oh, that's the requirement for the short selling system when they choose puppets or something, that kind of thing, I guess. I see that people who are addicted to narcissism. Okay, so this puppet, I won't mention the name. I don't want to talk like that. I'm not on any kind of, I'm not really commenting on current events, although occasionally Freudian slip, it slips out a little bit, but not too much. 99.9% is studying psychoanalysis. What's that? But sometimes to make the point, and I do bring in examples there. I would think to the average observer, it's just so absurd. It's kind of like maybe like a child, almost like a child, believing he's a god or something, and talking like that. And then, okay, make him a puppet for a place. And then, and the puppet has, controls the people around him. So this thing about the the puppets like the flying monkeys, right? And the flying monkeys have little flying monkeys underneath them, kind of thing. So remember, the flying monkeys serve the people with the narcissism, right? Narcissism, they're blind about themselves, and the flying monkeys are blind to the blindness of their employer or whatever. So there's just so much unawareness and blindness going on, right? So a flying monkey serves the handler or whatever, or whoever put him in there, I guess. And the flying monkey doesn't see anything about the truth of what's going on behind it, because he only wants the chance to look important. Aha, now I get to look important. I get to say, I get to be center stage. I get to make it all about me. I get to look like a king. I get to look like the center. I get to look so important. He's addicted. It's a drug. I felt it for the first time. This guy's really addicted. This guy's truly addicted. This came to me because I'm currently in the middle. I just started reading a book called Narcissism in Wonderland. So we'll have coming up, maybe 15 quotes later, coming up in the near future, we'll have some quotes from a book by Ullman and Paul, right? R. Ullman and H. Paul, I think, yeah. They have a pretty good book called Narcissus in Wonderland. And their theory, I just have a glimpse of it, a teaser of it, I think, is that there's a commonality between people who take, alcohol or whatever, smoking and too much food and etc., and illegal things, whatever, or the personality of narcissism. There's something in common like that, whereby it's meant to have a physiological reaction on the brain, which stimulates fantasies that when you were a baby, you're a little god. Oh, I'm so important. So it's a trick. It's a synthetic. It's like a little trick or something to trick your brain's chemistry to provoke the mind part of the brain, the psyche, the psychology part of the brain, to elicit up to the person those old ancient fantasies, those archaic babyhood fantasies in the uterus when you're a little king, little god like that. And then if you feel those kind of feelings, well, you're nothing to worry about. If you're a little god, you're safe. You're in a little bubble like that. And this character I saw, I felt almost like that's exactly what was taking place. And remember, that's oceanic ecstasy, right? The baby's in a kind of a blissful feeling. Now, the baby's not addicted, but when you grow up chronologically and you psychologically revert and blip up that old feeling, then it becomes addictive. So then you keep going up, get it, blip it up. So that means you're not reality based for your life. You don't want to admit something about your life. You're in denial about it, and you're just addicted to eliciting up that fantasy that you're a little god like that, infantile megalomania fantasies, megalomaniacal fantasies, and it's considered to be a blissful kind of condition. And I thought when I saw that puppet talk this morning, well, there's an exact that's pretty a close example, I thought, of what I was just reading. What's his name again? Ullman, U-L-M-A-N, Ullman, U-L-Man, old man, U-L-Man. R, it's the first, is it Richard, I think? And last name is Paul, Harry Paul, I think, something like that. A little bit with jargon. They're trying to highlight something that other people forget about. Like they don't say people who drink, that people who take alcohol or something. Usually, traditionally, we say it's self-medication, or cookies are like a kind of like a food trance, over-the-counter tranquilizer like that, or like you're self-medicating, you're self-soothing yourself. They say it's not like that. They say it's more about self-inducement of a hypnotic trance, and in this trance, okay, like a hypnotist, you are a little god. I'm a little, oh wow! It brings up it provokes up those old ancient fantasies that babies have in the uterus, or the little gods. It pushes up those old archaic fantasies, and now you're living up with those fantasies, and now you're operating out of those fantasies. Then it makes you feel what you once felt in the uterus, were a little important little god like that. And this whole process is considered addictive. So in other words, narcissistic psychology is addictive. Okay, and just like alcohol might be addictive to things, there's something there's some kind of commonality. I think they were saying. I got a long way to go. I'm just teasing it here. I don't have the full answer yet. I've just started in on the book. But anyways, when we did, we recently did 6 videos from a little mini self-help book entitled "You and a Narcissist." You and a Narcissist by Kimberly Harding, a biology professor. A little tiny book, excellent. I highly recommend this tiny little mini self-help book. You can read it like 2-3 hours or something. We posted 6 videos. That's how clear she was. I think maybe one approximate way to appreciate what's going on with narcissism, okay, trapped in the mirror, is her little metaphor about when a kid plays with dolls. So imagine a child playing with their dolls and all this, and the child says, "All right, doll number 1, I'm going to assign the role of this to you. All right, doll, you're going to play that role for me. All right. Okay, doll number 2, you're going to play this role." But the child's the center. She controls it. She's the center. Okay, and she just assigns roles to the dolls, okay, and it has this little play like that or whatever. Now later on, the child realizes there's a real world. And there's more pleasure and more meaning and feeling in the real world. So she dumps the doll world and goes on forward like that. Okay, now with narcissism, they're still in their own little doll world. They still think in that with the child's way, with the doll. Others are like assigned roles. All right, you play dupe rescuer and attend to me. Read my mind and meet my needs before I ask it. Okay, you're the donkey one. You're the flying monkey one, you're the duped rescuer. And so he gives people roles like that and treats them like things. Like the child treated the doll like a not fully human. So people with narcissism treat others in an analogous kind of manner. They don't see the full humanness yet. Why? Because the baby, when he's one with the breast, the baby thinks the breast is a thing that he owns. It's possessed. The image of the psychology is 2 overlapping circles looking like one circle. So you got the self-concept circle, okay, the mother-other concept circle. They're blended in, looking like 2 circles. So the one circle is like a double circle, looking like one circle. And the child thinks that one circle, that doubled in one circle, that one circle with 2 in it, the child thinks that one circle is all his. The 2 in 1 is him. That 1 with the 2 in it is him. That's his psychology of others, that he owns others. Others are things that he possesses. So in other words, when the baby's nursing and all that, okay, the baby's the center, he's entitled, it's all about him, the mother's a thing, he's not in a place to express gratitude, or if the baby bites the nipple, "Oh, sorry mother," he can't do anything. He doesn't see the person yet. He didn't get to that stage yet. He's still this dreamy like little godlike thing in his psychology, right? So that's why people with narcissism have no empathy, they exploit, they lie, okay, because all they want to get supply. So people with narcissism, their bully pattern, Iago pattern, all the other stinger personality patterns, they focus all of their life energy, their grand plans all the time is how do we cheat, how do we deceive, how do we fool, how do we dupe, how do we trick, how do we allure, how do we, maybe what they do is confuse and scare you. And then people think you're the authority. Oh, good, you think I'm so great. Okay, where did you learn that trick? From the mother. Okay, when the baby was terrorized by his mother, he was confused and terrorized. The baby said, "Oh, mother, you're amazing. Mother, what a great trick. I hurt my baby and she thinks I'm a god. Mother, get supply like this." They learned it from her, treat others the way she was, they treat others accordingly, like that. Okay, so that's why later on, if you see somebody with narcissism, okay, and they're hurtful, lack of empathy, cold, don't care, and they always and you point it out to him, "Gee, that was hurtful what you did. You got to be kidding. I'm in survival mode. That person was in my possession. They misbehaved. I was angry like that. I was trying to get them in line like that." No, you don't own them. They're a human being. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm in survival mode. I got to get oneness of the breast. I got to get fusion with the breast. That other misbehave. No, that's a human being. They're not your breast from the nursery time. You don't know what you're talking about. What's the psychobabble? So no, that was hurtful. Well, look, I'm in survival anxiety here. You have no empathy for me. Okay, you're not listening. I'm in survival battle with the monster in my mind. No, what are you talking about? Okay, so when the baby's nursing, and there's a frustration with the feeding time and all of this. Bottle, plastic bottle, rubber nipple, honey, mother's force feeding, doing it wrong, or the nanny's doing it and she's in a bad mood, or there's some kind of misattunement or malattunement. There isn't that kind of smooth, flowing, beautiful, aesthetic, beautiful, heavenly. There isn't that. Something's chaotic and angry going on. Okay, so during that frustration time with the feeding, baby creates an image of the mother based on how he feels. He feels enraged, okay, his need to take in, he's enraged in his dream world, mind, okay, fantasy mind, okay, he feels like a hungry wolf, he feels like a boar queen, okay, or he feels like a monster, and that's his mother now. So now he's fighting with the boar queen, the guy with the horns, a sea monster. Okay, Cyclops character. He's created some kind of frightening entity that's enraged and it wants to gobble him up. That picture is code for how he feels, but he thinks that's the mother as well, because he creates in a relation to the mother. So he thinks to either be eaten. My greedy, your greedy. He has only in survival mode. Okay, if that's frozen thorn there, if that's pierced and then fixated there, can't go past it, he's fixated there, then so later on, if somebody points out to somebody with the stinger personality pattern, okay, once again, all of the stinger personality patterns include embedded within it, the commonality of all the stinger personality patterns is the narcissistic quality. Okay, so Iago has it, the bully pattern has it, lower function BPD has it, the passive aggressive narcissist has it, the clinging vine narcissist has it, okay, the turtle narcissist has it, okay, the voyeuristic narcissist has it. Of course, all the cookie cutter exhibitionist one obviously clearly have it, and so on and so forth, and all the other personality patterns sort of in that kind of area. The commonality of the stinger personality patterns is, of course, the narcissism, okay, the jungle slogans. So anything about the quote-unquote human side of being human, feelings, trust, empathy, love, they hate all that stuff. They mock it, they hate it, they shame it, because they once had it, and look at all the pain. So if they see it, it triggers the pain. They identify with the aggressor. Got to hate it the way the mother hated it in them. It's like so quick like that. So that's why their slogans are hate vulnerability, hate weakness, hate sensitivity, hate anything with feelings, hate anything with honesty, hate anything with trust. Oh, you got no way, man. It's all jungle, man. So he is operating out of the limbic system. And that limbic system, remember the lizard brain, crocodile brain, they only care about survival reproductions. They only care in survival mode. So of course there'll be promiscuity there, because it's just survival, right? Reproduce survival. Okay, but the psychology part of it is they want to allure and reject. Okay, and so people are not seen. The affection and tenderness can't be there. So they're excited in the Don Juan syndrome or the promiscuity area. Okay, they're repeating what happened to them. The baby was allured, mother was alluring, she was enticing. Oh, baby's so happy, mother's going to feed him properly. Rejected. So the baby had the experience, he had a promise, it fell. A great hope fell. You heard no noise, the wreckage was within. Oh, cunning tale that let no witness in, says Emily Dickinson. So baby identifies the guys. Oh, I see. That's how it is, mother. You're the prototype of the world. Oh, I see. Oh, I'll just treat others the way you treated me. I'll let others be allured and I'll reject. Allure, reject. Allure, reject. Now he's get excited to play the mother. He gets a little white flower. Plus he operates only out of survival. So there's a lot of promiscuity in terms of the physiological idea of survival. But the psychology side of it is they're repeating what happened to them. So that's why there's a lot of lack of feeling for others like that. So in the Twilight Zone, there was a character like that called the Cat and Mouse episode. It was about a Don Juan kind of guy, Casanova guy, kind of a crude, ugly crude version of it. They didn't even choose I guess they wanted to make a blunt and clear, like a B grade, C grade version of a Don Juan syndrome. Anyways, it was about a Don Juan guy, and he just said very directly, I'm a tomcat. So he specifically looks for women with a lot of fantasies. He plays to the fantasies. Oh, I'll meet your fantasies. Oh, really? Okay, and he has his little conquest like that, and then dumps him. And flies around, does it again and again and again, right? So he'd been doing this his whole life like that. And the Twilight Zone, they made a character who represented the Don Juan phenomena for thousands of years. So he's been doing it for thousands of years, personification of this dynamic. And the irony of it all is, he never realized what he was doing. He always felt entitled. He was angry at every woman who would fall for it, because he's just repeating it, keeping you unaware of it. And he always complained with every woman he hurt, thinking, "You're not the goddess mother that I never had." Well, no human mother can be this perfect goddess, missing love mother that you didn't get. No human in the present can be the breast mother for the past, and that's what he's looking for. So this woman finally kind of put an end to it, I guess, right? They did it in a kind of comedy way, using cats and all this, and the cat was screaming and all, hissing and all. But as crude, as cheesy as that particular Don Juan was, very crass and it's kind of surprising. Even a lonely woman would kind of fall for that kind of crass. He was cold and he was kind of mean and cold like that, but he had this cheesy way about him or something that she just had fantasies. She didn't see the reality. She only had fantasies. So the closing narration for that episode was, dear ladies out there, if you ever plan on mixing your fantasies with reality, don't, because you'll have your head in the clouds, your feet on the ground, and everything else in the twilight. Everything else in the Twilight Zone. Let me just take a small break here. Hold on a second. And so once again, for the price of half a cup of coffee, you can get the file. I was just thinking now, if I feel refreshed and I've got like some guava juice in me and I've got like 10 hours or something, maybe I can run through all of the Twilight Zone episodes. It'll take me 10 hours to run through them. I'm only commenting on psychologically minded shows, right? So that cat and mouse, called Cat and Mouse one, it was about the narcissism, his attitudes, his sense of entitlement, his rationalizations, a clear display of his godlike, king-like status like that, and the poor codependent woman with fantasies like that who doesn't see reality. And plus the overall issue of how does anybody deal with narcissism. You know, the Twilight Zone had several episodes addressing this question. How does humanity deal with somebody with narcissism? Okay, enter the episode, To See the Invisible Man. That was another one, To See the Invisible Man. So they caught this narcissistic guy. You treat people like things. You think everything's about you. You don't see the humanness in others. Okay, you'll be punished for 1 year. Oh, what's my punishment for 1 year? Yeah, well, everyone will be ordered to ignore you. Oh, that's nothing, he said. Who cares? I don't see people anyways, so they're not going to see me. Well, that's the deal. For 1 year, no one's going to interact with you and all this. So he didn't care, but what a joke. That's your punishment? You got to be kidding. So for 10 months, he didn't care like that. But it did that's the point. It did wear on him. He finally did realize. He did realize that people are people, and he may need people like that. He's got to treat people as people, because no one would look at him or talk to him. Everyone was ordered to ignore him. Okay, so if he called the nurse for help, she'd ignore him. The doctor everyone would ignore him. You know. So then it kind of caught up with him. So when the year was up, okay, it worked. He treated people person to person like that. He didn't treat people as things to shame or use or exploit. He realized people were people. He needed people, and he realized that people are not things to use and exploit. He learned that it's really about relating to people, not just using them. So the transition is, how do they switch from using to relating? So narcissists are famous for just exploitation, using, thingifying, using. Lucy Holmes says those with narcissism treat everybody like symbolic breasts, suck it dry, okay, and then discard it. Give me the next one. they have this insatiable greed, suck dry regard. Okay, now if somebody is there to be supply for them, they think they own it. So if they don't supply, if they put like a boundary like that, they get enraged and they angrily want to coax back to supply. And they're very enraged if they don't get it. It's called narcissistic injury, narcissistic rage. Because if the breast is not there, they feel like what any baby would feel if he had no mother. He'd be gone. That's why he's so enraged. He's violent. He's got to get the breast like that. And then finally, if the person does insist on some kind of boundary, and he's able to get out of the spell or whatever, the duped codependent rescuer can free himself like that. Well, he'll say, okay, then if that's the case, he'll deny, contempt, sour grapes, did in many ways, totally devalue, reject them, find another one. A lot of duped rescuers out there. So so the episode was called "To See the Invisible Man," meaning that all the people around would treat him as invisible, kind of thing. Now he was physically visible, but no one would look at him or talk to him like that. So that was a hypothetical of how does society help someone get out of this solipsistic dollhouse mind world, right? Where everyone's just things, and he's the God, it's all about him, he's the center, doesn't care about others, just wants to feel important. So he's like a Don Juan or a Peer Gynt or a Casanova, a womanizer, playboy, all this kind of stuff. Or anybody in that mind. Right? We're not talking about people who do relate, but maybe they're a little shy, a little afraid. That's a little different with codependence or that kind of thing. You got to look at the psychic structure, kind of thing. Like some narcissistic people might be like, entertaining or over like that. Oh, they're relating to people or something. No, they're not. They're just dangling. They're dangling a fish on a hook, and fish see the bait, not the hook. Their goal is to hook people in and make them lifelong duped rescuers. Their goal is to find supply. Some people call it ego food. Some people call it, they're like emotional vampires like that. And it's insatiable. And if theoretically they got everything, back to that episode about that ennui episode, he said, I've got everything, and now what? Ennui, this contempt, this sarcastic contempt for everything fills my days and night. Ennui, it's beyond boredom. It's an angry kind of thing. So one line was, the poor might feel bored, but they've got hope, but they don't have an opportunity, so they're bored like that. But the wealthy, they got everything. So it's not about boredom. It's about, there's no hope to get love. The poor have hope to get love. There's no chance to, so they kind of feel restless or bored. But the 1%, they got it all. So it's not about boredom. It's something different. It's about, you got everything and it didn't work. You didn't get love. Well, now what? Oh, you sink deeper into Inside Out 2. You saw the image called sarcasm, that gaping hole there in the ground. It's called sarcasm, the chasm of the earth, this emptiness, dark abyss, emptiness. Like they feel this kind of painful thing like that. And they might sound like those mind workers there. Okay, and then you had Ennui on the surface, and she was a very extremely sarcastic character, very ugly kind of attitude like that, right? I think if they were to update Inside Out 2, the Ennui character might morph into the wicked witch one, right? So they have no hope. There's envy and so okay. That's So yeah, okay. So again, when person has narcissism, what the most important thing to them is this past point. They want to get supply. That's their priority. That's the only thing they see. So the effects they have on others, they're oblivious to. They don't care. If it hurts others or whatever, it doesn't matter. That's yesterday, the first one, right? Other people's reactions are less important than his need to rewrite the past. So he's trying to rewrite the past. He's trying to rewrite the past. He didn't get the breast. So gobble, gobble, gobble. He's trying to rewrite the past where he got the breast. It doesn't matter. No matter how much greed you have in the present, it doesn't rewrite the past. It doesn't change the past. The past happened. It's set in. You can't you can't travel back on a time machine and get a better past. It happened. It's reality. But again, you see, that's the confusion of repetition compulsion. We repeat. Okay, always hoping to get a better past. Oh my God. So Janoff's main line is, it's the death of unreal, relentless, Martha Starr calls it relentless. It's the death of unreal, relentless hope. That's the birth of life. So back to Saturday, Twilight Zone. You got to face this someday thing. Someday. So narcissist has this someday thing that they gobble up, get supply. Someday it'll be mother's love in the past, and they'll have their soul. They'll have their maiden king, their midnight blue, their beingness, their home within. They'll have that. They feel very shame, empty shame, ennui, sarcasm. That image underappreciated image in that show. Inside Out 2, film of the year. Inside Out number 2, film of the year. Okay, that sarcasm, that huge crack in the earth like that, the chasm in the canyon, like Grand Canyon or whatever. And it's just down. So sting of personality parents have this feeling like that underneath. That's the theory, I guess, right? So someday the chasm will close, that they can stand on the ground or something, and they can relax. But meanwhile, they're terrified of falling in. They're terrified of this emotional, psychological abyss like that. So that's why they're greedy. They got to manipulate. They got to lie. They got to deceive. They got to cheat. They got to duplicity. So they're masters of manipulator. They're master liars. They're master rhetoric, people skilled in rhetoric. What do you call them? Rhetoricians? No, rhetoric. Oh, I forgot how you pronounce it. So they're masters of rhetoric. Okay, they're masters of all the advertising tricks you see out there, and all the propaganda tricks and all the lies. Okay, all that kind of thing. And they're intuitive to understand people's fantasies and needs. They dangle the carrot, and then you hurt them, then they see you as the amazing one. And that's how they get supply. So they don't care. That's why narcissists, they don't have any kind of empathy for you, because they only care about their supply. That's like a narrow, like a cyclops. They've got one vision, one eye, supply, whatever. That's why there's no fee. Now, if they do offer some kind of cheesy apology or fake empathy, it's sarcastic, it's cynical, it's meant to shame. So you don't even want their fake apology or something like that. It'll be done with a tone of shame and sarcasm. So don't look for it, kind of thing. So that's why Twilight Zone addressed several episodes on how does anyone face this narcissism? How do people be aware of it for themselves and others like that? So they have several episodes. To See the Invisible Man, okay, and then of course the Cat and Mouse one just mentioned. And there's a comedy one called Take My Wife Please. Take My Wife Please. But they play on it. Take my fake life, please. Take my narcissistic life, please. Take my pseudo-fake neurotic life, please. That one there. Take my life, please. Meaning false life, please. So they did. They took his false life away by making him face his shame. Shame. Okay. The metaphor for the emotion of shame is a burning, biting feeling. So the hell scene is a metaphor for the emotion of shame. So they zoop this comedian guy to the hell scene, this transitional, like waiting room to hell or something. It's not an actual physical place. It's a metaphor for the emotion of shame. So there's an episode, that comedy episode, okay, when he goes to the hell scene, that's a metaphor that he's facing his shame. Now, when he's facing his shame, okay, he's a comedian, so he's on stage trying to do a routine in the audience. No one would laugh at his normal stuff. And there's a heckler in the audience. That heckler's him. The knowledge, his own true knowledge about himself. He was the heckler. The heckler would say, "Come on, comedian, tell us about the time you did that terrible thing to that person." "No, I can't. Come on. And he told everybody laugh. "Yeah, tell us about that cruel thing you did to that nice lady or something." And "I can't. No, don't make me say that." He said, "Fine." And everyone laughed. Ha ha. Well, why'd you scam that guy? "Well, easy pickings." Everyone laughed. You know. And And what about your mother? Yeah, well, I didn't want to babysit her, so I sent her out and she died of hypothermia in the snow or something. Everyone laughed, haha, all these awful things. So yeah, this was, the heckler was his honest voice, and he was in shame. And when everyone laughed at his story, not talking about others, not shaming others, the audience was laughing at him. Normally, he tells shaming stories about others and everyone laughs, right? This time, they're going to laugh at him. See, he's facing his shame like that. And the heckler was him. So he's in hell now. And he said to the host or whatever, okay, I did it now. Can I go home or something? Oh, no. It's too soon. You have to do this for 2 decades, 2 eons. And we'll see what happens after the 2 eons. So he's got 2 eons. He's got to go and he's got to entertain the denizens of this hell thing 3 nights a week, 7 days a week, every day, and he's got to only face the heckler. And every time he tells about how he hurt his mother and all these people, they're all going to laugh at him. Night after night, 3 times a night, night after night, for 20 years, whatever it is, he's got to expose and tell the truth of his true behavior, and everyone's going to laugh at him. And will he get to the point where he cries and he admits what he did was cruel and all that? Because if he doesn't, he'll be a permanent member of the denizens of the hell scene. And you can see the hell scene, all the regulars there, right? The various short sellers and hedge fund and all. People make money by creating poverty. A lot of those characters are there. All their puppets are there, of course. All their flying monkeys are there. So you can see a lot of these, like Columbuses and all those kind of characters, right? To make it clear, I think they just put like mafia kind of characters there or something like that. I was trying to make out in the audience, who are they referring to in the audience like that? They were trying to, there was something there about it. I couldn't recognize the actors imitating which famous people. But a lot of notorious people who destroyed the planet for a quick buck are probably in there, right? And they're there because they never faced the shame. They never faced the shame. But this comedian guy, he's got a chance. He's got a 20-year window where if he faces the shame and he admits it, maybe he'll be redeemed and he'll have a new life. The death of neurotic life is the birth of an authentic life. The death of a fake life is the birth of an authentic life. So he has this chance to make this transition. We don't know the outcome. So the show ended there. So that's okay. So there's just three of many episodes dealing with narcissism. Okay, take my fake life, please. Take my cat and mouse, and To See the Invisible Man. Actually, Saturday is the 4th one. Yeah, we could say Saturday. Another one is Saturday. Okay, the 7 days of the week, right? Someday, Monday, Tuesday. Okay. I mentioned the someday, right? So in that version, no, that's too much. I spent an hour on that. It's about the double motif. It's about the double motif. So the condo is a symbol for the body. Now, who's going to live in the condo? So who lives in your body? So there's going to be the authentic self or the fake self. The fake self was out, the authentic self came in, but the fake self was trying to kick out the authentic self and reoccupy the condo, the body, and the authentic self said, no, that's the authentic self's the double self. Okay, the soul, the beingness, the double self. The little conflict between the fake self and the authentic self. The authentic self will say, look, fake self, you did it wrong, you're going to cause all these problems, so I got to be here now. And he shattered away kind of thing. So this whole double motif, and the actor was playing both sides. He was playing the fake one and the authentic one. Now they did it cynically, but if you can put aside the cynicism of the thing and try to preserve the psychological message about the double motif. So the same guy played the false, narcissistic, arrogant, cold, like the comedian one, right? Like all the other cookie cutter narcissists. Cold, empty, cold-hearted, empty, didn't care, won't care about empowerment, doesn't care about feelings of others, uses exploit. He played that, and supposedly that actor was going to play the authentic self. The cynicism was, okay, now, never mind the cynicism of it. So let's just imagine let's imagine that actor was able to play the authentic self. Far from it. Okay, anyways, hold on a second. Another episode about narcissism I mentioned yesterday. Maybe I can quickly review it here. Hold on a second. I mentioned yesterday, so another episode, so I just mentioned 4, right? Here's the 5th one dealing with narcissism. It's called One Life Furnished in Early Poverty. For a discussion about that, can I refer you to the last video? 2910. Done in the hotel there, yeah. The one with the beige chair in the background, that one, yeah. So it's a very good episode. It's actually an annoying, pitiful episode. It's an annoying, pitiful episode because for 20 plus minutes, all you see is some bitter, angry guy shouting and complaining, shouting, oh, seriously? But that's narcissism, right? Because he really is a kind of hostile and negative like that. So we see a guy who's narcissistic like that. So the point was, how do we help this guy? Well, they put him in a time machine, take him back to his childhood, where he could visit his younger self, his child self. So he observed his childhood, and he observed as a child he was bullied, and the father hit him and abused him. Mother didn't care. He was alone and being abused like that, and he made some decisions. He made some decisions as a child by that, which made him very bitter and angry like that. But the older version of him observed, oh, I see. Me back then, I decided these things. I made these kind of decisions like that. So I'm the chooser of my beliefs and my life afterwards. I'm the master of my fate, really, if I think about it. That was kind of the message. So the closing narration was, it's rather bittersweet how we spend so much time trying to justify ourselves to the shadows of those who are long gone. Okay, so this bitter guy, okay, he's in his 40s, 50s, whatever. Okay, who is he fighting with? Who is he in battle with? Okay, memories of decades ago, the shadows. So he created a template and it's set in there. Okay, so Miss Golem's theory is freezing parent, frozen child, or shaming parent, shamed child. Let's just stick with freezing parent, frozen child, right? So he identified with the aggressor. So his whole life he was the aggressor, the freezing one, shaming, negative, okay, all that stuff. Okay, so he goes back to time. Okay, so that's the shadow. Those constructs are the shadows. Those constructs, freezing parent, frozen child, that's an outcome of trauma. And when there's trauma, we repeat. So you see the presence of those lens. So he identifies with them, finds others to play the child one and shame them. Or if he's the child one, he'll find others who reject him. So that's the past stuff. That's bitter, always angry like that. So wait a minute, where did I learn this? Why am I still doing this? Why am I still dealing with these shadows? It's rather bittersweet how we spend so much time trying to justify ourselves to the shadows of those who are long gone. Okay, so he's still loyal to the mother. He's whitewashing the mother's crimes. He's whitewashing the mother's crimes. When he's so negative and bitter, he's whitewashing that his mother hurt him. He's not believing it, doesn't want to know it, can't face the painful truth. Okay, he doesn't want to admit the greatest hurt of all. Mother failed me. Mother didn't love me. He can't say that to himself. My mother didn't love me. She couldn't, she was impaired, okay, and she didn't have the capacity to do it. She didn't have the psychic structure to do it. She wasn't differentiated from her mother, so she couldn't do it. She was in pain herself. So that's the greatest hurt of all. Mother failed like that. Okay, so that's later on you see the two sides and you forgive her, but understand her. But in the beginning, you got to admit the painful truth that the person wasn't loved. John Thurrock says, "Why didn't your mother love you?" Said to somebody, "Why didn't your mother love you?" Oh my God, what a question! What kind of question is that, Shrinker man? But she free associated, had a huge grieving, mourning like that, and her symptoms went away. So when you mourn, you get back your feelings, the firebird, okay, and then you're good to go. Okay, again from the Twilight Zone, one life, comma, furnished in early poverty, meaning like emotional poverty, like maternal poverty, love poverty. There was no richness there. He really did live in extremely impoverished, materially nice neighborhood and wealthy father and all that stuff. But emotionally, the mother was callous, the father was violent. He lived in there was a kind of a bully culture all around him or something. He was picked on by the bullies all the time. And Jesus Christ, no one intervened. Jesus Christ, that poor kid. So it's kind of understandable why he was so bitter if you see his childhood. But the point was here, it's rather bittersweet how we spend so much time trying to justify ourselves to the shadows, to the construct, the construct. So you're trying to placate this construct. Hey, construct, memories, fantasies, you're the freezing parent from the past. Let me fix you, let me cure you, let me please you, let me help you, let me correct you. So I'll be loyal to you, I'll be just like you and treat others the way you treated me. He's still fighting in the past like that's the shadows of the past. And even if your parents were alive, let's say, would they remember? Would they remember? So let's say somebody does see, let's say an adult does visit their parents. Hey parents, you said these things, you did these things. How dare you blame, how dare you talk to me like they'll attack you, right? The narcissistic injury. They won't admit it. Most narcissism, they think they're right and you're wrong. So if you're complaining what's wrong with you, they'll turn around and make you the guilty one. So that's the bullying technique, right? So, okay, so the bullying, the common bullying phenomena is their frozen child one, okay, they see you as that, they play the shaming one. After they shame you, you are their shamed self. Flip-flop, hocus pocus, they think the shamed one, the proxy playing their shamed self, simultaneously, hocus pocus, is the aggressive mother hurting them. Then in their anger, they hate the one they just hurt. The other's their child, and flip-flop, the other's their mother. That's what, they only have two constructs. It's kind of a little bit simple actually, in a way. Okay, so we all know this about the bully pattern, right? They shame, attack, and present themselves as the victim. That the one they're hurting is the aggressor to them, and want to convince everybody using propaganda tricks and bombastic techniques to do so. They just play on other people's fears. Well, believe it anyways, and it works. It's really sad. I don't talk about current affairs, but there's a bludgeoning. I'm sad to say it, but people are being bludgeoned. People are being bludgeoned to death. I don't know what the numbers are. People keep saying 40,000+. Doctors say it's way more, and people are just being bludgeoned. And then the people bludgeoning innocent people like that, Jesus Christ, okay, they present themselves while they're murdering, while they're doing this, they present themselves as the victim, and everyone says, "Oh, poor victim." They twisted it, right? So the bully acts like the victim. They play the victim while they're being the aggressor. They advertise themselves so immensely like the victim, and the real victim is seen as, it's flipped, that they're the aggressor. They flip it, flop it. Okay, it's kind of sad like that, right? So anybody doing that kind of thing, obviously is a sign of trauma. Okay, if they're dealing with the shadows of those who are long gone. Okay, so the mother didn't nurse properly, or mother who removed them from or if they were removed from the mother, or the father hurt them afterwards. Okay, so that's they're long gone, and you're dealing with the shadows of that. So they're still in the past. They're still in that past. They're frozen in that past. Let's say an adult child does go to their parents. The parents will, they'll do the same thing to you. The parents can manipulate. They're master manipulators. Think about a mother. "Oh, I gave you life. How dare you talk to your mother?" Like, they'll twist around. They're the aggressor. They hurt you, but when you confront it, they flip it and see you as the aggressor, and that they're the victim. They flip the roles like that, because in the mind they got the psychic structure of the hocus pocus, self and other are one, so they can flip it around instantly, quicksilver. And they gotta believe it, because it's survival. They can't admit the truth. They can't know the truth. They can't know the truth. So they gotta lie to deceive, to flip flop. So they have what Grotstein calls the BPD amalgam phenomenon. Something in the brain is created called an intermingling and new fusion of psychotically neurotic mixing up, interconnecting with neurotically psychotic, i.e. secondary mentation, mixing up with primary mentation, and the primary mentation mixing up with secondary mentation, and you got the neurotically psychotic and psychotically neurotic, two mind things, they fuse in and poof, you got this magic mirror in your mind. And it allows the person to play Hall of Mirrors, House of Mirrors, now you see me, now you don't catch me if you can. You did this, no, you did that, I did that. How'd that happen? And you're fooled. Okay. You know, you said that. No, you said that. I did. They can gaslight, double bind, twist, hedge, innuendo, accuse you, find your sensitive spots, push your buttons, play on your fantasies, and twist it, and confuse, scare, and then you think you're the authority. Wow, you must be right. Okay, it's called the BP. Look up BPD. In the BPD pattern, we talked about Grotstein's amalgam, BPD amalgam theory. So let's say, the adult child does go back to the parents if they were like, could they confess? Would they say, I'm sorry, I made you define me, I didn't meet your loves, would they confess? Chances are they would attack you for the accusation because you're supposed to admire them and supply for them. If you're not, they attack you, right? Would they recall what they had said or done that made you spend the rest of your life trying to prove yourself? No way. They say it's your fault, it's your problem, not mine, stuff like that. Okay, so let's say you went back. Let's say you could go back in a time machine to the childhood. Let's say you entered into a time machine and you flew back to your own childhood and you watched all this. And you watched it all. You saw your childhood, you observed your childhood, you saw the whole thing, you even interacted with yourself and you interacted with the parents and you really got to know what was going on back then. Wouldn't you learn that you were always the master of your fate? That you were the master of your fate, that you as a child decided these things, you made these decisions. Yes, it was a compulsion, yes, you were trying to survive, but you were sort of you who did it, even though it was your unconscious you who did it, it's still kind of like, we're responsible for our unconscious to a degree, right? We're meant to see, we're meant to reclaim, we're meant to admit that our unconscious is a part of us, and we own the unconscious, not the unconscious owns us. We're meant to have the conscious ego, the adult mind run the life, not these frozen child, freezing parent constructs. That's the unconscious running your life. We're meant to have the adult mind run the life, the conscious ego run the life. So that's, his question prompts you to build the adult mind. I think what he's doing is he's trying to prompt you, encourage you, okay, whoever the scriptwriter here is, they're trying to encourage you to build the adult mind, to build the ego state, the conscious ego state. So Golem says, when you identify which puppet master is involved here, are you the freezing parent or the frozen child? If you're the frozen child, you say things like, it's my fault, I'm wrong, I'm guilty, I'm never good enough, nothing I do is good enough, what's wrong with me, I'll try harder, I'll plead. You're kind of sad like that. And you always take the blame on yourself, you're masochistic, you don't deserve anything good, so on and so forth, right? So you're playing the victim child side. Now, okay, that's still the past. That's still the past, the shadows of the past. You're still, you're letting the construct dominate you because your adult mind is missing. The adult mind is missing, so you're dealing with freezing parent, frozen child ones. Or is it the freezing parent mind who's taken over? So anybody who's negative towards others, against towards others, shaming towards others, dark humor, shadow photo humor, put down humor, saying people are not people or something like that, anything dehumanizing towards others, anything that kind of against attitude, because that's yourself what you're talking about. You're talking about your own self projected onto them so you don't feel it's with them. Prejudice is confession. So anyone in that kind of freezing parent construct. So Golem says, identify which is running my life here, which is running the show here, which puppet master is taken over here. So then you pause about that. Oh, I see, these constructs, this one or that one. Well, these constructs are shadows of the past, they're relics of the past, they belong in the past, ancient history. Build the adult mind. build the present adult mind. Okay, and work on building the adult mind. Okay, so trial and error. What might you authentically like or true for you from your authentic self? Now, the moment you do that, the freezing parent is going to criticize you, or the frozen child will says, forget it. So you go, no, back off, bully, back off. Frozen, arrested developmental child, hurt child, back up. Okay, you got to send the Doberman Pinscher to the bully one, and say to the child, look, I'll take it from here. I'm the adult now, and build the adult mind, like kind of thing. It's not the total answer to healing. It's just part one. Part two is you got to ride the broccoli boat inside out too, free association, and get the ab reaction, the orbs rushing out. It's called the Firebird. So yesterday we talked a little bit about the Maiden King story. Okay, the pin, Baba Yaga, okay, and the Firebird. The Firebird. The emotional knowing, getting your feelings back, called emotional knowing. So in Inside Out 2, that's when the characters are on the orbs, and it's called rushing up like that. So you're getting your feelings coming alive again. It's more clear with the Firebird, the vibrant colors, the flames, the reds and the oranges, the reds and oranges and yellows, and you know that vibe. And it's alive, it's fiery. So your feelings are coming back. But to get your feelings to come back, you don't control that. That's natural. But you set up the conditions for that to happen naturally. So the condition is called narrative medicine. Find your story. Make inferences. Could it be this? Could it be this? Be a detective. Might it be this? Your behavior. It's a pattern. Where did you learn it? How did you learn it? Catch yourself in a now, here and now example of it. Link up the pattern, when it began, and that's why you're doing what you're doing now. Link it up like that. Okay, if you're shaming others, well, that's the inference that mother shamed you. If you're always attracted to people who shame you, well, that's an inference that your mother shamed you. Make these kind of little links like that. So you got to identify your defense mechanisms. Identify, was a deal made? Was a Faustian deal made? That's the freezing parent one, and so on. And if you could go back, wouldn't you learn that you were always the master of your fate? You were the master of your fate. You decided these things, so you were the master of your fate. If you're a kid being bullied and you decide you're going to get even with everybody or something, well, you decided that kind of stuff. And if you could go back in a time machine, wouldn't you learn that you were always the master of your fate? Enter the episode Memphis. The mentor said to the kid was going to fight with the kids, and he touched his fist, and all. Wait a minute, you can use your hands like this to deal with your problem, and it's and maybe for the moment you might feel better for the moment or something. Or he touched his heart and his head. Or you can use your head and your heart and change things and improve things forever for you. You can improve your life forever if you use your head and your heart. If you use your fist and all that, it's just a momentary thing, and you might feel better for the moment. Nothing changes. Or you can improve your life forever for good if you use your head and your heart. Your head and your heart. He said, use your head and your heart. The mentor said to the kid, use your head and your heart, okay, and your life can be better permanently. You can have a permanent, a permanent betterment of your life if you use your head and your heart. Focus on the head and the heart. Solve your problems with your head and your heart, okay, rather than the fist thing. So the kid took it to heart. He became a neurosurgeon, and later on saved the mentor when he had a brain tumor later on. And he quoted him. You see, solve your problems with your head and your heart. So because the mentor did that, the kid is now going to save the mentor in return. Very good episode, by the way. Memphis, we talked about it yesterday. The closing narration for Memphis was, sometimes the key to your future lies in the past. Just like this one here, the key to your future lies in the past. So he went back in a time machine to the past. Okay. If you could go back to the past, to your childhood past, wouldn't you learn that you were always the master of your fate? And if you learned that great truth, if you learned that great truth, wouldn't it free you of a useless burden? Dead cargo from the twilight. I like how he calls it dead cargo. So these constructs, it's kind of like dead cargo, right? You're carrying this dead shadow it's this cargo, but it's not real. It's just, your parents are dead and you got the memories of it. It's the shadow of your dead mother. And Jesus Christ, why are you still trying to save the dead mother in your mind? Like, what the hell? So the commonality of Memphis, and there's a commonality between Memphis just mentioned and One Life Furnished in Poverty, which is that if you want to fix your future, look to the past. The secret's in the past. You want your future to be better, well, identify your trauma, your arrested development, lift the thorn, get the firebird, free association, heal the splits, answer Baba Yaga's question. Okay, it's not oppositional thinking, it's not either or thinking, it's not adversarial thinking. Find the third side of the coin, find the middle way, find the golden mean. Okay, find the third side of the coin that holds the two sides. Find a both and perspective, a vertical, broader, deeper vertical perspective, a round depth vertical perspective. For example, when you see people out there, it's not either or. Okay. They're partly loving, but they're hurt. Now, in their pain, they're crying for love. Now, when they're crying for love, they may do it in a disturbed, perverted way, where they don't show you directly that they're crying for love. They find proxies to cry for them, and then show you what happened to them by imitating the mother that did it to them, by saying to the world, hey world, you see them? That'll be me. I'm crying for love. I'll use the proxy to cry for love. And look what happened to me. I'll do it. I'll demonstrate. I'll do to them what my mother did to me. So I'm trying to communicate my anger at what happened to me. I'm showing it to you like this. So that in a way they're crying for love by demonstrating what happened to them. They're trying to tell the world what happened to them. Show up the mother like that. Look what my mother did to me. I'm her now. Look what she did to me. I'm going to act like her. That person was me. I'll show you what my mother did to me. I'm her now. I'll do to them what's done to me. And that's my anger, my mother. I'm showing her up. I'm exposing her. My anger like this. And so it's a three-dimensional perspective in trying to understand people's behavior. One line is everything's love or a cry for love. So everybody's kind of like doing a blending of loving and crying for love, right? A lot of people are maybe more heavily, the cry for love is maybe, there may be love somewhere in the cry for love. And sometimes people are loving, maybe they are crying for love while they're loving. Like a lot of doctors help people, well, maybe they're crying that they want help. So although they're loving and helping, a lot of nurses, doctors, they're helping people, at the same time, they might be crying for love. As if to say, hey, everybody, you see how I'm helping these people? I wish somebody would help me the way I'm helping others. Berger calls that a positive magic gesture. And if you learned that great truth, wouldn't it free you of a useless burden? Dead cargo from your childhood. Again, it's rather bittersweet how we spend so much time trying to justify ourselves to the shadows of those who are long gone. And if they were alive, would they remember, would they recall what they had said or done that made you spend the rest of your life proving yourself? And if you could go back, wouldn't you learn that you were always the master of your fate? It's your life, it's your ego, it's your mind, it's your life. You were born to have an authentic self. It's your life. You lost that belief, but now you can get it back. And if you learned that great truth, okay, the great truth, wouldn't it free you of a useless burden? Dead cargo. And if you could go back, wouldn't you learn that you were always the master of your fate? Yeah, so somebody who's feeling depressed or something, I was wondering the other day, I heard a quote about a mathematician guy. He said that the odds of any person being here on the planet is 1 in 400 trillion. Like if you're here, the odds of you being here, she said, or he said, is 1 in 400 trillion. With those kind of odds, Come on, nature chose us. Some invisible nature chose us. Baba Yaga chose us. Who knows, right? Yesterday's batch of quotes were quite good. In particular, the whitewashing one. And the 9th one here. The fact is, your mother never loved you. The fact is, your mother never loved you, and she never will. She never will. Whether she's around or not, she never will. Her lack of love is not your fault. It's not your fault. That's the key, because we as babies enter Saturday, the Wednesday, the Tuesday, the Tuesday. Oh, till Tuesday. The band Till Tuesday. We got a song called Voices Carry from Till Tuesday. So back to Saturday. Sunday, moan day. See, when you face the unreal stuff, you gotta moan. And after the moan, you face the Tuesday. The baby thinks he did something wrong. He's defective. He's not wanted. Mother's not meeting his needs. Baby thinks, am I defective? Is something wrong? You don't want me? You're ignoring me? You're shaming me? You're attacking me? Maybe you're punishing me. Did I do something wrong? Is it because I am wrong? I'm not what you wanted? I didn't see. Oh my God, here. So child thinks he's being punished. Does that mean he did something? Mother, did I do something wrong? Am I guilty of something? Did I commit some kind of unknown crime? Am I guilty of a crime to you, mother? Do I have some kind of due to you? Am I in guilt, debt to you, or something like that? Well, mother, give me a chance to fix it. What should I do here? Oh, you want me to save you, cure you, heal you? You're crying for love. You can't love me. You're crying for love. Everything's love for a cry. Don't worry, mother. I'll fix you. I'll cure you. I'll heal you. I'll make you be a loving mother. I'll make you be a loving mother. Oh, sorry, I failed. I failed. Oh, I failed. That's because I failed. So but my guilt. But you know, it's timeless. It's a timeless loop. So now he's got this infinite, timeless loop. He's always in debt, always feel guilt. So back to as above, so below. Okay, if the child feels unconscious guilt, in German, guilt and debt are the same word called Schuld. So in the outer world, when others are declared, all right, you 80% of the people on the planet, we're just automatically going to say you're in debt and you got to hand over your stuff. That's a reflection of the 20% saying they feel unconscious guilt to their mother. Now, it's not true. The baby did this false belief in an attempt to make some kind of sense and some kind of order out of the trauma with the mother. So the baby does what's called the moral defense. He's not guilty. He's not wrong. He's innocent. No baby's born guilty. That's nonsense, right? But the baby decides that in an attempt to minimize the pain of it. Oh, I see. Well, I've got to see the mother's good for my physical survival. But gee, I'm in so much pain here. I'm being punished and I didn't save the mother. I guess I'll just conclude I'm no good. Nonsense. Nonsense. Take yourself out of the penalty box. Take yourself out of the guilty box. Your mother's lack of love is not your fault. So that's the dues day in Saturday. You got to face this dues issue. This false belief, this temporary, emergency, desperate belief we created called the moral defense in an attempt to make sense of the situation. He wasn't born with it. Nonsense. He was born to have a loving mother. He was born to be nursed and held safely, and have a rhythm of safety, and go through a basic developmental process where he's safe with the mother. He can separate and differentiate from the mother and have a chance to be himself. Separation, individuation process from birth to 3 ballpark. He never got that. Pain, rejected, guilt. The way to have a mother is to feel guilty to her. So the way to have a mother, the way to have some kind of unreal, relentless hope that one day she'll change her ways is to stay guilty, stay in the guilty box, stay in the penalty box, okay? And maybe one day, someday she'll change. Someday she'll exonerate you. Now, who are you talking about now? Some magical court in the sky or something? It doesn't exist. You're dealing with a shadow. You're dealing with a shadow now of parental voices from long ago. And you're still guilty all the time. Jesus Christ. Take yourself, she says here, take yourself out of the guilty box. So Riley in Inside Out 2 was on the penalty box. Take yourself out of the penalty box. You're not guilty. It is not it's no baby's fault if the mother hurts him. It's not the baby's fault if the mother hurts him, her. It's not that baby's fault. Nonsense. Never, under any imaginable circumstance, is it any baby's fault that if the mother rejects him or hurts him. Okay. She's in pain. The mother's impaired. She's in pain. She's operating with the Edward Munch frozen, a baby version of the Edward Munch screen painting. She's in pain. That's why she's impaired. She's stuck in narcissism. She's got this compulsion to replay what happened to her. So go to yesterday's video with the beige chair. I went through an imaginary dialogue between the baby and the mother at this point. That wasn't too bad. That surprised me a little bit. That was not a bad little discussion. Go to check out. Anyways, one of the better things I've done in this series is yesterday's in the beige chair, an imaginary dialogue where the baby tries to negotiate with the mother to not hurt him. So check that out. That's not bad, I thought. I try to summarize a lot of points in that dialogue there. Yeah. You know, if I were a cartoonist, I could make an animation of it and think about it and fix it up. It'd be a lifelong. It'd be like a fairy tale. I think it would last. It would endure. If there were a cartoon where the baby is trying to negotiate with the mother, "Don't hurt me, mother," and how the baby manages to persuade the mother to not hurt the baby, that conversation is packed with insights. So maybe someone will pick up on it and do a cartoon. That'll be an interesting project. There needs to be therapy cartoons out there, a therapy animated show about therapy process. Jesus. It's people are see the. It seems to be the therapy world is always in the plundering mode. In order to plunder, you don't want people to know themselves. Remember, as above, so below. If people don't know themselves, they don't know what's going on outwardly. If they don't know inwardly, if you know what's going on inwardly, you might know what's going on outwardly, and it makes it harder to plunder. So if you want to heal this disturbance that we're in, know yourself. Man in the mirror. Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. Is there a mirror? No mirror here? Oh, the other place. Oh yeah, there's a bit of a mirror there. Man in the mirror. Hold on a second. Now would be a good time to play a song from our soundtrack. Maybe a mellow song. Maybe something like. What about Julia? Let's play Julia by Pavlov's Dog. It opens up at the piano. Julia. Street Hearts, What Kind of Love Is This? Maybe. Some ballad, right? Maybe or maybe some upbeat song from Anshel, maybe like Hayfield or something like that. Eli Sapi's got some fun upbeat songs from her album called Traveling Love. A very good album by Eli Sapi, Traveling Love. Oh, Beatrice Steer, it's always great to play Beatrice Steer. Nara, it's only a live one there, no studio. But her album called My All To You, there are a lot of great songs on that album. Her album Fox has a couple of songs on there. My All To You and You're With Me and the songs in her original indigenous language, Inakti Tak. She's she calls herself an Indie Innu singer, like Inuit, right? From indigenous group, the Inuit. She calls herself an Indie Innu singer. Okay, I'll leave it there for yesterday's batch. That's a good batch yesterday. Let's begin with today's batch. I think today's a bit of a lighter load. So let's begin with today's batch here. I'm just thinking in my mind how scattered some of the ideas have been in the past hour, past hour and a half. So it's a little choppy today. I'm not really kind of rested today, yeah. Okay, let's try it. Let's run through today's batch. Let's see. I haven't seen these in a while, so let's see how they go here. The matter of autonomy. It means psychological, emotional, personal autonomy, right? Authentic autonomy. We don't mean leaving the physical house or condo or something. Okay, so on this point, play Bruce Springsteen's song Independence Day as sung in Toronto. Check out YouTube, Independence Day, Toronto, Springsteen. Listen to the introduction he gives to that song. Now the guy who filmed it is way up in the rafters, everything's dark, you don't see anything, but the audio is clear. It begins with Springsteen saying, fathers and sons, fathers and sons. It begins with that one. Listen to the introduction he gives to that song, Independence Day. He means like emotional freedom from the mother. He left his father's house, his mother's house, his childhood house in the mind. He was free from that. Now, as a teenager, he had physical independence from his abusive childhood home, he said. Okay? But his memories followed him, his conflicts followed him. His childhood home in the mind followed him everywhere he went. Only in his 60s, he said, did he leave that home. That was his emotional independence day. So first he had like a physical independence day, but he wasn't emotionally free. In his 60s, he said the song's about somebody getting emotional independence day, kind of thing. And how did he do it? Okay, Baba Yaga. He faced Baba Yaga. In the introduction, you will hear an answer to Baba Yaga's question. Do you want to heal by free will or by compulsion? Do you want to forgive your parents by free will or by compulsion? That kind of thing. So it's like, Baba Yaga was testing you. Is it either or? Come on, tell me, what is it? Give me your choice here. He said, oh no. Springsteen said, oh no. My parents had hopes and dreams, didn't pan out. I was surprised that my parents were people too. Not just parents, they were actual people. I was startled and surprised that they had these dreams that didn't pan out. And still, you know what, although they didn't love me, by compulsion, maybe by choice, 30% compulsion, 2% by choice, or 200% by compulsion, and maybe 5% by choice, or less than 5% by choice, that there were still some benefits on my end. So they were in pain, they were impaired, but they still loved me while they were in pain, and while they were in pain, they couldn't love me. So 1/3, they tried to love me, but 9/10 they hated me. So he found some way to find some attitude that holds the two that he can accept. Holding ambivalence, tolerance to ambiguity, third side of the coin. It's not either or. Baba Yaga was testing either or. Did your mother love you or hate you? Well, I would say she 2% loved me and 300% hated me. Okay. I guess it wasn't like a either or, clear cut either or. There was some kind of blending going on. That's the basic thing, right? So he was saying, so Rosanna, another indigenous Inuit elder, Rosanna Deerchild said, the more I learned of my mother's story, the more of a person she became to me. Now, what are people? We're homotraumikas. Okay, we're homotraumikas. We're all one family. We all love and cry for love. It's confusing like that. Baba Yaga said, okay, fine. If you can see the three-dimensionality, the vertical thinking, okay, the third side of the coin, something about both, fine. If you can do any kind of both and, not cynical, not a cynical both and, don't trick me with us, okay? If you believe it's something both and you're not, now if you're bitter about it, that's no good. So when I said, I felt like I missed it myself just now. Let's go back a sec. So Baba Yaga says, so did your mother love you or hate you? Oh. Well, she was impaired, so realistically, she hated me, I would say 190%, and I would say she loved me maybe I don't know, 5.2%. I don't know. It's if she's satisfied, if she feels you're being sincere somehow, you're okay. The numbers don't add up to 100, by the way. So in the maiden, okay, the phrase maiden king means the maiden is the feminine element, the feminine principle, the maiden, right? And then that's the leader. The feelings lead king. The king is by the feelings lead, the feminine leads, the midnight blue leads, and then your doing is normal. Your doing is normal. Okay? If you don't have the maiden king, your doing is whack. If you get your beingness, your authentic self, your soul, your beingness, you're connected to yourself, you're home with him, then you got your feelings, that's the feminine, and that's what's the king, the maiden king. So your doing is going to be normal, like that. So in the story, a guy named Ivan lost his soul. Okay, he was traumatized, he was numb, that's the pin in the collar. So he wanted to remove the pin, get the Firebird back, right? I mean, he wants to get the feelings back. So in order to get the feelings back, to get the pin out, they showed you a condensation of several motifs. So one of the motifs was you got to face this idea: is it either or both and? I think that answer by Rosenberg, everything's love or a cry for love, or whoever it was, I forgot. Everything's love or a cry for love, and then you clarify. People are trying to love, but in their confusion, they cry for love. While they're loving you, they're crying for love at the same time. Okay, well, which is it? Well, it's a blended in kind of thing. It's blended in. So when the mother's hurting the baby, she's crying for love. Okay? So she wants love, but she does it by hurting the baby. Jeez. So it's a little confused like that, right? Okay, anyways, for more on this point, check out 2599, Route 66, the fifth one down, about the third side of the coin. Saved by understanding. So there's a big discussion about how to answer Baba Yaga's question. So Baba Yaga is an image, that's a personification of this invisible power that's behind or responsible or in accordance to the healing process. If you want to get your feelings back, you gotta move beyond oppositional thinking, adversarial thinking, black and white thinking, either. It's nothing's like that. That kind of thinking is only temporary for the baby. Okay, breastfeeding for the baby is heaven or click hell. It's like either or for the baby. If mother hurts him, he's in hell. Mother's doing it right, okay, he's in heaven. He can't do confusion. Baby can't say, oh, mother's not loving me. Oh, she's crying for love. That's okay, I'll forgive her. I understand. She's in pain. Oh, she wants to shame me because she's trying to figure out that she was shamed. Oh, I'll help her. That's okay. I won't mind that. I won't think she's hating me. Baby can't do that. The baby can't say to the baby can't think, mother's hurting me. Oh, I see. Oh, I get it. That's because she doesn't remember that she was hurt. So she's going to hurt me because she's trying to remember that what she's doing to me, it's for her to see that that's what happened to her. Oh, okay, I'm helping her then. I won't think she's rejecting me. I'll think she's loving me, and she's giving me the gift to participate in her healing process. Well, I'm glad to do that. I won't think she's not loving. Baby can't do anything like that. If the baby's needs don't get met, he's in hell. He can't figure out the confusion with the mother, trying to increase her awareness like that. So then that leads to either or thinking. The mother's a monster, creates a goddess, and keeps them separate. For the baby to survive with the powder stuff, even though the mother's hurting him, he thinks there's a goddess there. And the goddess there's no relation to the monster. The monster is some separate entity. It is his mother. That's not my mother. No way. No way, that's not my mother. I can't know the truth. Enter the twilight zone, need to know. The baby cannot know this. The baby cannot know that his mother's hurting, using him, shaming him, not meeting his. The baby can't know it. He cannot know it. He cannot know it. This is such a key point. It sounds simple, but it's really at the heart of a lot of things. In terms of as above, so below. Like when people say, oh, I can't know that, I can't know that, I can't know that, right? Okay, so that's part of the plundering system, make people in that mode. It's hard to know that 50, 40 plus thousand people are being murdered, bludgeoned, the chaperone, buried in the rubble, all the kids screaming, watching their family being blown up and burning. And one kid was screaming, seeing his father on a fire being blown up in a tent. This awful stuff, and people can't know this, right? They turn the channel, they don't want to know it. It's hard to know that kind of stuff. You go mad if you really kind of absorb that in. So to heal the outer, consider this. The baby cannot know that the mother's hurting him like this, that the mother's murdering his soul, let's say, that the mother's plundering the baby's soul, pillaging and plundering and attacking his soul like this. Soul murder, one guy calls it. Baby can't know his mother's murdering his soul. Oh my God, what a horror. No baby can admit this. Okay, enters psychic splitting. Either or. No, that's not it. Denial, compartmentalize, put it in a box, disassociate, put it away in your fantasy, whatever, deep in the limbic brain or something, and then hallucinate. Just hallucinate. Like the guy in the desert with no water, sees an oasis. Hallucinate. There's my mother. There's my mother. She's a goddess, a beautiful, lovely breast, and I'm especially safe with her, and everything's okay. It's not real, but it's a trick to survive psychic splitting. So defense mechanisms are operations of the mind, maneuvers of the mind, mechanisms of the mind, mental mechanisms, psychic mechanisms. They're called defense. Psychic defense, because he's in defensive mode. Mother's attacking him. He's in defense, protecting himself. I can't know this. Defense, split. No, monster, not my mother. The goddess, there's my mother. There's nonsense. That leads to either or thinking, because into self, the part self. So the mother concept, there's no loving mother. In myths and fairy tales, there's no mother. There's a stepmother. Okay? Meaning the mother is cruel and narcissistic, so they say there's a stepmother. That's code that the mother's not loving. It's the dark side of the mother. And that's why in fairy tale, that's the issue in fairy tale. There's never a normal mother there. That's the problem. That's why we have these fairy tales. The mother's missing for some reason. So we say the stepmother. But it is the mother. It's the dark side of the mother. We call it a stepmother. Hang on. Where was that? I got to be careful going off on little side tangents because then I forget the track that I was on. Because the baby can't know. The baby can't know what's going on, so he does psychic splitting, right? That leads to either. Oh yeah, okay. So the mother construct. Okay, there's no human mother there, right? He's dealing with goddess and demons. So there's a goddess and a demon. So now you got two mothers in effect. And they're separate. He keeps them separate. That's the key thing. So there's a part mother that's split to it. There's no reality, right? The mother's not a goddess or demon. Now, in relation to himself, in relation to the mother, you got corresponding part self-representations. So you got a part self-representation linked to the goddess one, where you're safe and special and blissfully happy and you're in heaven like that, even though it's delusion. Okay, then you got a part self-representation linked to the monster one, shame, defective, no good, worth, all that stuff, right? Now that's actually the reality, that painful side. But in Inside Out 2, it was all popped away to the back of the mind. So the joy was pathological joy with the quote-unquote sense of self from that pathological joy side. Then you got the sense of self with this exaggerated false belief that you're guilty, you're no good, you're defective. Okay, you don't know yet as a baby that it's not your fault. You think it is your fault. So you're always no good enough, never good enough. So in Inside Out 2, you had these two part sense of selves, one from the joy side, one from the anxiety side. Okay, they were both removed to make space for the new third side of the coin. A new sense of self that holds the two. So you saw the group hug in that key scene where you saw the splitting. Okay, I did nothing wrong. No, I did something wrong. I'm guilty. No, I'm innocent. I'm kind. I'm cruel. I'm friendly. I'm unfriendly. I had all these little opposites like that. One from the delusional side, the goddess mother, special child. One from the monster mother, no, never. And so you saw the splitting like that. I'm no good. I'm good. Friendly. I'm unfriendly. So flipping like that. So he was trying to hold the tension of the opposites. So you saw the group hug metaphor that we're trying to contain it. And then when that happened, when we held the two sides, we accepted two sides. It's not either or. It's something. Some kind of both and sense of self. Then popped up the new little looked like an atom or something. A little symbol came up to represent the authentic sense of self. And then Riley calmed down. She was her body. She got her feelings. She apologized to her friends. She could make amends. Okay. And then the coach saw how more mature she was. Gave her a scholarship. We want her around. Robert Bly says, when people have their beingness, when they have their maiden king, when Snow White comes back, when Rapunzel comes back, when the golden ball comes back, when you got your beingness, you're authentic, when you get it back, he says, when those with that sense of self walk into a room, everybody calms down in a peaceful way. It's different. Right? If somebody, puppet master, somebody dominated by the frozen child walks in the room, they feel better because they can scapegoat him. They can all say he's no good, shame him, like that. So a company might hire a weak, kind of, innocent, unoffensive, harmless, kind of wounded character. So they all dump on him. And so he carries, he absorbs everyone's self-hatred like that. So if the victim character walks into the room, everyone feels better. Oh, he's the no good, or I'm special. So it's still a tense thing. It's not an authentic self thing. It's a superficial, temporary thing. It's not a lasting, it's not a warm feeling. It's just like a pain relief discharge thing. It's a negative reaction where you just blow off steam like that. Or the other one, somebody identifies with the freezing parent, and that's the puppet master. They walk in the room, like the bully one. Then people might think, okay, well, he'll be a proxy for my freezing parent one. Everyone's got the freezing parent one. He exhibits it. Everyone's the voyeur. They might feel the fantasy. He's expressing their narcissism and envy like that. So they might feel a little better like that. He'll express their rage for them. So those constructs, people feel better. It's just in a momentary, perverse way. It's not a healthy way, right? Like junk food or something. But when somebody has the authentic self, they walk into the room, there's a different quality. Everyone calms down. They feel better about themselves, and it's lasting. They remember that. And a lot of companies and departments would love to hire someone like that and give them an easy job just so they can be around, and everyone would feel really happy. It'd be a happy workplace like that. So companies usually can't find those characters, so they'll hire. What in the family systems theory? What does the department need? Do we need a weakling everyone can dump on, or is everyone angry? Do we need a bully so everyone can think the bully's expressing it for them? So Riley got her beingness, and the coach said, "Oh, we want her on the team. Oh, it's very valuable to have somebody like that on the team. Oh, you get the scholarship. You get the scholarship." She made new friends, and everyone liked her. She could do both and. She was generative. She shared. the guys were falling for her, whatever. So the Maiden King story, yeah, so the key image is the pin in the collar. With trauma, we get a pin. So at birth, basically at birth, a lot of people, that pin gets put in the collar. The metaphor means we feel flat, or too much in the head, externalized living. There's a paucity of inner experiences. We don't feel that warmth within, that hum within, that beingness within. We don't feel that homeness within, kind of thing. So face the Baba Yaga, either or thinking. Rosanna Deerchild, Bruce Springsteen, etc. Face the opposite, the two, either or. It's not either or. You got to transition from either or to both and. You got to upgrade from the paranoid schizoid position, get it up to the depressive position, which is a both and one. Get out of the stinger mode, move into the clinger mode, maybe. You know, you got to get out of that narcissistic bullying, stinger, egoism mode like that. It's bitter. It's a thorn. You see, it's a thorn. But in Shatter Day, you got to get to Thorn Day. Thorn Day. What's before Thorn Day? The Wound Day. The Wound Day. So after the Someday stuff, you got the first Moan Day. Then you face this Doomsday stuff. You're not guilty. You're not guilty. Where is it again? Oh, back in 10, right? So take yourself out of the guilty box. You're not guilty. Okay, then now you face the wound. The wound. Now you know you're wounded, that your mother didn't love you. There's a real wound like that. Okay, why didn't my mother love me? But face the wound like that. Get the story. That's free association. Ride the broccoli boat. Get the story. You're in the wound. Okay. Then you hopefully you get to that kind of thorn day, that piercing point where the fixation took place. Now you don't pull the thorn physically yourself out like that, like you see in the film Kirikou and the Sorceress. He pulled a thorn. That just showed you the image of the thorn being pulled by nature like that. The natural force pulled it up. But so if you can get that kind of release where you really admit it, oh my God, I froze on my soul because this happened. Oh my God, and you weep. So when you're weeping, that's like the rush, the mourning process. So this is called working through and mourning. We gotta mourn, right? So that we can feel what we couldn't have felt. But first you gotta know now what you couldn't have known. Then you can feel what you couldn't have felt. You can feel what you couldn't have felt. That's the ab reaction. That's the release like that. That's the Firebird. When you get the Firebird, then you're good, right? Simultaneous in the Maiden King story was the idea, interesting idea that you got to identify all the tricksterism going on in the mind, the duplicity and the identification with the aggressor, projective identification, issue of symbiosis, doublethink, and translogic. This is the rabbit energy, the trickster energy. So in the healing journey, Ivan had to find this rabbit. It was in a box under the tree kind of thing. So he finally found this rabbit, meaning identify trickster stuff. Okay, that's like Anansi and the Aesop tales, all these little kind of how the mind moves around or something, and deceives and tricks and fools yourself. So you look at rationalization, that's trickster stuff, rationalization. Okay, inventing a lie that you believe and others believe, but it's false. That's trickster stuff, right? Now, infused into the trickster stuff is the image of the duck energy. The duck energy is inside the rabbit energy, okay, because the duck can travel in those three worlds, okay, water, land, air, so you can move around like that. The trickster, the rabbit energy is kind of like the duck energy within, it can move around like that. So inside the rabbit was the duck, right? Okay, so you had to find the coffer, the box, and under the oak tree. Inside the box is the rabbit, and then inside the rabbit is the duck energy. That means you're living in different worlds. That means you're making the unconscious conscious, you're making link. That's Hermes flies across. So the duck is like Hermes, like a messenger flying across, unconscious to conscious. And so in soul, spirit, body, you're flying around between soul, spirit, body, I guess. And if you can live in these various worlds, we live in two worlds, unconscious world, conscious world. If you can live in these two worlds, like the duck can live in under the water or in the air, these two worlds like that. Oh, hold a second. Let's let these people pass here. Okay, then there's a egg. There's a potential, new life. And I think she ate the egg. And that's reintegrating the new potential. Psychoanalysis looks for the egg. Egg, you gotta get the egg. Where's the egg? It's in the duck, which is in the rabbit, which is in the box, which is under the tree. I'm not too convinced fully about that latter part of the mating kinks. The first part's great. Where the soul, the mating king, was like a princess with gold all around, all this, called the Golden Princess or something. And she appeared. Ivan said, "Oh my God, who are you? Are you kidding me? I'm your soul. I've loved you your whole life. I missed you so much, and I've loved you your whole life. Oh my God!" And he went to sleep. The pin popped up. The pin activated, and she flew away like that. Turned to a swan and flew away. And she came back. Pin came in, flew away. And this went on several times. Finally, she didn't come back anymore. So he was really enraged by this. How do I find her? Where is she? Oh, she went so far away. First, you gotta talk to the Baba Yaga. If you're gonna get your feelings back, you gotta face this oppositional thinking. Because if you do either or thinking, you see, then your mother's still the stepmother. You see, you never got out of that issue. You're loyal to the stepmother. Okay. You see, if you still do oppositional thinking, you're whitewashing the fact that your mother is a stepmother. If you do oppositional thinking, you're whitewashing the reality that your mother is a stepmother. Okay. So meaning the mother is not loving, she's cruel, she's bitter, she's narcissistic, she's greedy, she's entitled, all that stuff, right? So if you do any kind of either or thinking, any kind of prejudice, any kind of opposition, adversarial either thinking, you're whitewashing. No, my mother was okay, she was okay. Don't talk that way about my mother. Oh yeah, right? So that's a key one from yesterday, about the whitewashing. Okay, let's go back to today's batch 29. It's getting dark here already, 5:30 already. Oh, the battery. Oh, Jesus Christ, the battery. Okay, battery's holding up. Okay, good. The matter of autonomy. Separating from your parents, which is a part of growing up. Oh my God, you can hear Miriam Woodman on the tape. Come on, people, it's time to grow up. We gotta grow up here. This infantilism is causing too many problems. It's time for everyone to grow up, meaning mourn. If you want to grow up, you got to mourn. You got to ride the broccoli boat, face Baba Yaga, okay, and that's it. And then the rest will happen naturally. You'll grow up. The matter of autonomy includes not taking on responsibility for curing them, your parents, of the pain that comes from their unhappy childhood. So if you want to grow up, you got to stop trying to save your mother. Meaning, you got to stop feeling responsible that it's your job to save your mother from the pain of her loveless childhood. You can't do it. Even if you wanted to, you can't. It's impossible. Not only is it not your responsibility, but you can't do it. Without knowing it, or with only dim awareness, your parents saw you, baby, saw you as a parent who was supposed to love and nurture them, to know what they needed and provide it, and by doing all this, to heal them. The mother parentified the baby. All right, baby, you take care of me. My mother never took care of me. You take care of me. Oh, I'm going to be myself. You want to be yourself? You with me or against me? Okay, mother, I'll sacrifice myself to please you. Very good, baby. So she hurts the baby, can't love the baby. That's a pain on the baby. Then the baby has to make every effort to please her, take care of her. That's what she's looking for, right? Doesn't work. Using the baby as a teddy bear or as a mother, It's called childhood parentification. It's not going to work. It doesn't work, and you grow up, you find copies of her, and you keep trying to save them, thinking you're still trying to save the mother. See, when that template is created, when that prototype is established, you find others just like her and try to save them, thinking you're still trying to save the mother. Okay, now you're trying to save a shadow in the mind, a ghost in the mind, a construct in the mind. Okay, dead cargo. You're trying to save dead cargo. The child of such parents, once grown into adulthood, continues to play this role. You continue to play this role. Children have to believe that their parents have good intentions. To take the blame for their parents' aggressive behavior absolves the parent of having bad intentions and keeps hope alive in the child for receiving the parents' love. So you're keeping this relentless hope alive if you whitewash their crimes. You're in denial. You're stuck. That's sort of it right there. All right. After careful self-examination, you need to conclude that you cannot develop a sense of self when following another person's plans. You need to strike out on your own to make your own mistakes, which you can regard with mischievous joy, since it is you who are making them, which is a sign of freedom. Okay, so in terms of after you identify which puppet master is taking over your life, freezing parent or frozen child, and put it aside, their shadows, their relics of the past, ancient history, dead cargo, okay, then what's left? Well, the missing adult. Okay, well, what's the missing? Oh, well, let's build this missing adult mind. Let's build this conscious present ego called the adult mind. So it's just experiment around. You got to strike out on your own here. So you'll make mistakes. That's okay, but they're your mistakes, which is a sign of your freedom. You cannot feel loved unless you show. You cannot feel loved unless you show yourself. Purchasing love through acquiescence is purchasing nothing. Okay, so back to the codependent one. If you play the frozen child one and find somebody who's rejecting, okay, and you're trying to win their love, purchase their love, bribe their love, what do you want? How can I save you? How can I fix you? Okay, and now the stinger one hates you for that because you're their hated self. They need to hate you so they don't hate themselves. So you're trying to save them and they hate you. You're trying to save them, they're hating you. So it doesn't work. The weakness that makes your parents lean on you comes from their own inadequate parenting. They were crippled this way before you arrived. You are not responsible for your parents' early love deprivation. You are not to be blamed for their feeling empty. So she does it again in 10 here, 11 as well. It's not your fault that your mother didn't love you. It's not your fault that your mother didn't get her mother's love. It's no baby's fault for this stuff. Here's a key one here. Okay, so identification with the aggressor, okay, resembles a kind of Faustian pact. And there's a kind of a feeling that, well, you're not going to be a victim if you're the aggressor. There's like an appeal like that. And you live forever. Timelessness. Identification with the aggressor, or this Faustian pact, is understood not only as a response to fear or terror, but also as a temporary means to keep at bay total helplessness and dissolution of the self. Yeah, look at that, eh? So the baby would have a total dissolution of the self. He'd fall into the abyss. He'd be in this silent screen painting, falling endlessly or something. He couldn't do it. So he'd have no sense of self. His self is dispersed. Yikes. Yikes. What is there? Well, the one who's hurting him, he'll be that. He'll be that. I'll make that deal. So the mother says, all right, I'll make a deal with you. You imitate me. You'll have my power and you'll live forever. You don't have to have yourself. What a deal you're putting. I don't want this deal. Okay, then you'll have no self. You'll dissolve into nothingness. Okay, I'll make the deal. Jesus Christ. That's how aggressive and entitled mothers are. Mothers feel so entitled because they are the baby fighting with the breast nipple. They are the baby fighting with the breast, and so that's their aggression, that's their anger, like that. So the mother doing that to the baby, it's the same spirit as when she was a baby fighting with the breast mother. Next one here. Submitting to the partner's abuse is an attempt to heal the parent. Look at that, eh? Submitting, you find a carbon copy of your mother who hurt you. You find a parent copy. You try to save them. You submit to their mistreatment. You're still trying to save the parent in the past. Not making sense, right? Submitting to the partner's abuse is an attempt to heal the parent. You allow yourself to be mistreated in order to placate and heal your internal parent, that shadow. You try and try again. How are you to know that it is the parents' demand that drives you? How do you get in touch with the frozen child that submits? Your adult mind is missing. Your adult mind, which is flooded by your child's guilt, doesn't know that you cannot heal your parent. By shedding the absurd requirement that you be your parents' parent in order to heal them, you can step away from this burden, useless burden, dead cargo from the past. Okay, by shedding the absurd requirement that you be your parents' parent in order to heal them. Okay, by doing that, you step away from this burden. If you do not see it as unfair as well as impossible, if you cannot give up the imposed responsibility, you will always be trying to heal someone who needs to play the baby role. You may have to mourn the loss of seeing yourself as a healer. You cannot cure people of their early damage by sacrificing yourself to their anti-love defenses. So take yourself out of the guilty box. It's no baby's job to save a traumatized, unloving mother who's narcissistic and who doesn't have the emotional feeling to be able to love, because she never got it herself. No baby can fix all that stuff. Merging into a love union. What if our aggressive internal parent should appear? Okay, so that's that in anything you do, the freezing parent's going to take over. The inner critic's going to take over. A life lived without love is a shallow distraction, one that is haunted by what you miss. Okay, so you may say, forget about love. Well, that's a shallow distraction. Okay, play the song called "I've Never Been to Me" by Charlene. So the song, that's like, it was just a one-hit wonder from the 80s or something by a singer named Charlene. It was playing in the mall a month ago. We heard it on the overhead speakers. It's about a she-wolf. It's about a Donna Hana, about a playgirl. She, as a baby, she herself was allured by the mother, but the mother rejected her. She became that. So now she's operating out of the limbic system. So now that's promiscuity for survival. But the psychology with the promiscuity is that she's excited to try to survive by reproducing. With the psychology is she's going to allure men and reject them. Allure men, reject them. So she went around the world, did all these things. She was a lifelong playgirl, allured thousands of men and rejected them. Now, she made a lot of money doing this, and she became a bitter, miserable, empty curmudgeon late in life. So it finally caught up with her. So she said to a young lady, "Dear young lady, you're about to become another version of me. You're just like me in my teens or whatever, my 20s. Before you decide to become a playgirl, hear me out here. Oh, you're a bitter she-wolf. I don't listen to you. No, listen to my story. It's only 3.5 minutes long. All right, fine, you bitter witch. You say yours, tell me your story. And that was the song, right? So she told the song. I went around the world. I went to all these nice places, these luxurious places, all these paradisical kind of places. I did this, been there, done that, but I've never been to me. Think about that, young lady. I did all this, I've never been to me. And you're about to embark on this. Oh, I see. Okay, I'll give it some thought. Good, so she wanted to help the next generation. She realized it was empty living, shallow living. There was no feeling, there was no mutuality, there was no tenderness or affection. All she wanted to do was be addicted to allure men, reject them, and take their money. Allure men, reject them, take their money. It was a pattern she repeated for 50 years, whatever it was. I've been to paradise, but I've never been to me, she said. So she was a female Don Juan. She was a female Casanova, basically. So she could easily play that episode, Cat and Mouse. Just watch the show Cat and Mouse and just reverse it. Make a lonely, bored guy at home with his cats or whatever. Just make a lonely, bored guy at home and make some femme fatale kind of evil seductress woman enter into the picture. And she dangles his fantasies. He falls in, and she rejects him. She's addicted to repeating what the mother did to her onto others, because that maintains the blissful oneness that all babies feel in the uterus of the mother. They're addicted to this stuff. Narcissism, bullying, hate, greed, envy, all this, it's addictive. They're addicted. That back to the puppet guy this morning I saw. I really had that felt sense. This guy was on it's as if he created a kind of psychological drug in his mind. How important he is. And he sounded so inflated, like a little baby god like that. We got to do this, and it's got to be like this, and oh my God, it's kind of like a guy on cocaine or whatever, some illegal substance. He was like a delusional thing like this. And I felt, and you really could feel the complete absence or any consideration for anything about the effects of what he was saying. All I want is this godlike feeling. Listen to me, I got this godlike feeling. I'm important, I'm the center, it's all about me. And he's really enjoying this limelight like this. You can see it's kind of pitiful. It's kind of, oh my God, it's just so kind of obvious to it. I think it should be pretty obvious to any viewer like that. But so he's duped. He's a blind flying monkey for other blind flying monkeys, all to the head of the Iago in the background, who's got ennui. Iago has immense ennui. Ennui fills his days and nights. So he gets flying monkeys, who in turn get other flying monkeys, who get other flying monkeys, and he's got this all these layers like that. So the Iago can hide in the ivory tower with all of his perversions or whatever it is. Okay, where are we here? Next one here. Okay, giving up your fantasy of having loving parents who incomprehensibly abused you will allow you to experience genuine and reciprocal love. Okay, see, you gotta feel this stuff. If you don't feel this stuff, you're stuck in the past. Your arrested development is stuck in the past. To get out of it, to pull the thorn, the arrested development, to lift the anchor on the arrested development, to pull the thorn, or have it pulled by nature, have it pulled like that. You gotta feel what you couldn't have felt. But to do that, you got to understand now what you couldn't back then. If you can understand, so first work on the cognitive stuff, and then the feelings will follow like that. You can't get the feelings if you don't do the cognitive stuff. That's why we have these quotes: to build a nest, to build a cognitive, to get the feelings. Okay, back to Memphis. Your future, the key to your future lies in the past. Okay, but back to the episode: one life furnished in poverty. And if you could go back, wouldn't you learn that you were always the master of your fate? So identify this past stuff. In other words, mourning. It's all about mourning. The whole thing about psychoanalysis is that we're not mourning. Why? Well, who mourns? A person's got to mourn. But you don't have the person. It's all frozen. You got this fake stuff, your little God in uterus. You're imitating your mother. That's not a person. Somebody's got to mourn. An authentic self mourns. A person mourns, but the person's all frozen. So it's simultaneous. As you get your personhood back, you can mourn. The mourning brings the personhood back, and the person bringing the personhood back by forgiving the parents gets your then you can mourn. It's kind of simultaneous. When you cry, you get your beingness. All therapy is about this. All therapy is about helping the person to mourn. But in order to mourn, the person needs to differentiate from the mother. In order to differentiate from the mother, you got to recognize the entanglement that's still going on and how that's showing up and the huge cost of it all. And to recognize the futility of trying to be loyal to a mother who abused you, thinking that one day she'll love you. She never loved you. She'll never love you. Dead or alive, she'll never love you. If she never loved you, only a mother with narcissism who personally engages in healing work. Okay, but very few narcissists engage in that. That's why Wong's Lost and Found Emporium, I think, is such a special episode. There was a narcissistic guy. Okay, so very quickly, in Wong's Lost and Found Emporium, Twilight Zone 85, okay, an old fellow, a guy in his 70s, goes to Mr. Wong's place. Mr. Wong, I lost something. Yes, sir, how can I help you? What did you lose? I lost normal development. I never had a loving mother. I couldn't do normal development. That stuck me in the thorn of the pain of narcissism, where I had to treat everybody like things to serve me, including my kids. Now my kids hate me. I had no development. I had no mutuality. I never developed. I didn't have a loving mother. I lost mutuality. Now my kids hate me. Mr. Wong, is there any way I can get development? Is there any way I can get the capacity for mutuality? Is there any way I can get to some kind of ability to get back my differentiation, my identity, and have the capacity for mutuality? I didn't get development. Is there anything I can do here? All right, Mr. Wong. All right, Mr. Sir. Mr. Wong said, all right, sir, let's begin the process here. I'm going to give you a mirror here to look at. I'd like you to look in the mirror. So they showed you this mirror. And so he's going to begin the process. First, you have to fully feel and appreciate the effects he had on his children. So when he looked in the mirror, he saw his face morph into an ugly monster. He freaked out. The guy freaked out, crashed the mirror. He couldn't do it. But he began the process. He began the process. And he gave a very sincere, touching speech saying, I failed my children. I couldn't see them as people. Okay, is there anything I can do now? Right? So he began the mourning process. Even though he was in his 70s, you could begin at any age. Well, usually it's after 35, right? A person in their 70s can begin the healing journey. It's called the second journey in midlife. It's very delayed for a lot of people. Some people never do it. It can be done. Masterson talks about a guy in his 80s who did it. And in 2 years, he got back his beingness, and he was an elder late in life. Look at that, eh? So he went from curmudgeon to elder. He went from bitter, stingy, grouchy, eerie, icky, miserable curmudgeon to a loving elder. He actually did the whole process. It's in Masterson's book. Masterson's one of our mentors in our collection here. A good place to start is The Search for the Real Self by James F. Masterson. He passed away in 2010 or something like that. Yeah, 2010, is that right? Okay, what about the bully thing? Okay, anger-dominated bullies, those with the bully pattern, i.e., who push around masochists, who readily submit, do not want to open their personal Pandora's box. Their internal freezing parent forbids it. To know, feel, and remember childhood torture at their parents' hands moves the grown-ups into the childhood helplessness that lies behind it all. Okay, so The freezing parent construct, that's a defense against the frozen child underneath. They find others, they see others, and then project or see or attribute their frozen child onto them. That makes them unaware that it's within them. So underneath the bullying pattern is the frozen victim's side. So if they want to heal, they got to drop like that. Shall I compare thee to an onion? You got to confront this behavior and you feel the vulnerable stuff underneath. Now normally others play your vulnerable stuff and you attack it to make you unaware. So now you got to look in the mirror and pull back kind of thing. Know thyself kind of thing, right? Know these various selves, your frozen child self, your freezing parent self, and stop blaming and externalizing. To win by mistreating another person sends a message to the self of worthlessness. Yeah, so you're still shaming yourself. You're shaming someone else who's your shamed self. It's a vote of no confidence in you. The bully has zero confidence in themselves when they shame others, because others are them. So they hate them. They hate others, meaning they're hating themselves. And bullying is like any addiction. It makes you feel good while you're doing it, but you need to do more of it, because the more you enact the opposite of how you feel, the more you believe it's contradiction. Okay. The more you believe it's contradiction, the more you enact the opposite of how you feel. Yeah, so you feel shamed and no good. I'm going to act the opposite. Well, the more you act the opposite, the more you build up that the shamed one. That means you believe the opposite. You believe the opposite even more. So the more the bully hates someone, the more he believes he's disgusting and no good and shameful and all that stuff. The more he's aggressive towards it, the more he believes he's no good. People tend to call addictions chemical, which means craving a physical substance. Those who use this definition do not deal with and perhaps do not want to face the emotional emptiness that underlies turning to a substance. Their enactment is that of an addict begging for a fix. The addictive substance of whatever nature is a cover for the emptiness beneath. Okay, so the bullying pattern or narcissistic pattern, etc. To borrow Ullman and Paul back to their book called Narcissism in Wonderland. The behavior is meant to create some kind of triggering effect in the brain where that pulls up the old fantasies in the uterus where they're a little god. That's their safe place, their little god in uterus. And they're addicted to that. If you are locked into the role of victim, who loves to get the bully off your back, you do not want to be a codependent pusher who further creates the addiction. Okay, so the pleasers and the clingers, they're like enablers. They're like pushing. They're like reinforcing it. It's like a supply. They're addicted to narcissistic supply. So she said, just declare yourself as out of supply. He freaks out, of course. He'll be violent, of course. I'm out of supply. So now he's got to face the inner child within. That who he hated was really him. He's got to look at it. Pull back the projection. Own the projection. Withdraw the projection. Own the projection. The healing is about owning your projection. He keeps projecting his shame self onto others. The goal is to pull it in. If someone says, if the codependent, the duped rescuer says, you don't got to feel your shame self. I'll play your shame self for you. Then you don't have to feel it for yourself. You're not helping them. No one's being helped like that. Whether or not you relish the embarrassing downfall of bullies, giving addicts the drug they ask for is bad for them. So the codependent is feeding the disease. He's feeding the illness like that. How does it make you feel if you talk about the issues without using personal attack, and your partner responds by considering your words, agreeing with some and offering alternatives to others? Well, continue talking about your reactions as part of getting closer. Okay, so now moving into using to relating. Bullies and all that use, exploit, use, think, or relate people to people. So that's called making I statements, your reactions to things. That was a trigger. What you said reminded me, that was a catalyst of some of my old childhood fear. And I'll share that. What you said reminded me of something in my childhood. In my childhood, I had this need for connection. I had this need for some kind of learning and connection, and acceptance. That wasn't around. I felt lonely and scared and angry. That's what's coming up now. Okay, so how are you hearing this? How are you with what I just shared? Okay, that makes sense now. So I get it. You have a what I did remind you of an old fear, and those feelings are coming up now. So you want to validate things like that. So the person being able to say this is being vulnerable. He's getting in touch with the child self. He's connecting with himself, which is the soul. He's accepting his soul. He's connecting with his soul when he does that. And the other person just listens like that. And now, if the listener is triggered, then he makes an I statement. The other one, you take turns back and forth making I statements. When this happened, I felt this. And when that happened, I felt that. When you said that, I felt that. Yeah, and when you said that, I felt that. And when you said, no one's blaming anyone. You're just identifying that this reminded me of the past, and that reminded me of the past. That reminded me of the past, my past. I'm not blaming you. Thank you for reminding me of my past. Now I get a chance to talk about it, connect with myself. So it's a positive idea to make I statements. TQ 2360 on how to make an I statement. 2360. Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to stretch my legs here. I'm not proud of my choppy, slightly agitated, anxious. I'd love to have a calm, smooth, friendly delivery. Today, unfortunately, wasn't one of them. I persist because I want to get the quotes out. If I only published videos where I spoke nicely, most of my videos wouldn't be here. I'm focused on getting the quotes out. These quotes are getting harder and harder to find, ironically. A lot of books are being withdrawn and removed, and not available. Libraries are disappearing. They're under attack. A major one was lost a year ago, 2 years ago. I just discovered it. I just discovered that one. Shortly afterwards, it was gone. Can you believe it? And even the regular, official, established ones are under attack. Hackers are attacking it. Jeepers Christ. This is like basic 101 knowledge for people, But that's the idea. That's the idea. In order to pillage and plunder, you see, this knowledge that's out there, it's our drive for healing. There's a truth drive, like an innate drive for healing. So the libraries are like healing, giving us knowledge for everybody. This is innate drive, but when that happens, the short sellers will attack it. That's like the freezing parent attacking it. Yeah, this caffeine's not good for me. I keep talking about the. Okay, sorry. Hang on. Let's see if I can end up this video on a friendlier note, on a happier note. I don't know if I'll get it, but let's give it a try a little bit. Oh. Hang on a second. Yeah, okay. That's okay. Let me just walk in a circle for a bit here. Okay, I would say yesterday was a better video. I think yesterday was not a bad video, to my surprise. Done with the beige chair, and partly done outside by the pool there. This one was hastily done, slightly annoyingly done. Maybe my mood isn't the best today. I try not, yeah, okay. So let's stick to the basics here. So what are the basics here? What are the basics here? Okay, borrowing the Maiden King story. Well, where's the Maiden King? That's a metaphor. Okay, this princess, okay, this princess who turns into a swan called a Maiden King. It's a woman, but she's called a king, right? Meaning the feminine is the leader. The feminine is the king. The feminine, the feelings lead. Okay, and then your doing comes from the feelings. Then your doing, your act of doing, the king side of it, the doing of your feelings. So your masculine, your doing, the king, whatever, comes from this kind of beingness, which is the leader. Your beingness is the leader. The beingness king. The beingness is the king. That's your inner house, your inner home, like that. And when you have that, your doing is normal. The symbol for the loss of the swan is the thing in the collar, right? So the Maiden King is a metaphor for embodiment or hum within. I think she calls it conscious femininity. Like you're aware of your beingness. And if you're aware of your beingness, you'll know what's unique about you. The Great Spirit makes everyone unique. You only know that if you have your beingness. So when you're aware of what's unique about you, which you express, that's considered a path with love, a path with heart. The bluebird of happiness that flies like that, the pleasant feeling, Shirley Temple, the bluebird of happiness is from within. Masterson calls it, that's meaning, that's a meaningful thing. And everyone's better off like that. You're shining your light kind of thing, a different kind of light, obviously. So this information is a kind of light of consciousness, and then when you have your beingness, that'd be a different kind of light. I played a bit of my video back yesterday. Oh my God, was I jittery. I was looking like left, right, because I still got traffic. Here's a little better, but I didn't realize how much I darted around, like looking there. I was every 2 seconds I was looking at something moving by. I regard that as a sign of my trauma, my anxiety, right? So yeah, so Rapunzel's in the tower, right? Okay, she's in the forest, in that world, that unconscious quote-unquote world like that. Now in the regular place, the conscious castle, okay, there was poverty and problems and debt and guilt and all that stuff. Empty, problems like that, because the soul was missing. Okay, so we live in these two worlds, right? So your house is empty in poverty, your soul is in the forest. That's Rapunzel. So you want to get her back like that. Part of the process we see is the idea of rampions, Rapunzels. So in the fairy tale theater version, I don't really like it. It's kind of another cynical, making fun of it kind of thing. But they did show you a basic structure. So you got, imagine a house, okay, and the neighbor is the witch. There's a fence there. Metaphor, two worlds. In the house, okay, the lady's hungry. Okay, says to the husband, hey, please go to the witch, hop over the fence to the witch's garden. She's got all these rampions, the radishes. Rampions, that's German for radish. It looks like a carrot, it's in the ground. Hop over the fence, pull up the radish, bring it over the fence and let me eat it. That's the witch's garden, scary stuff like that. Well, come on, darling. Okay, so the fellow hops over the fence, has a lantern, identifies the radishes, pulls it up from the ground, hops it, brings it over the fence, she integrates it, she accepts it. Okay, the metaphor means unconscious to conscious. So in the witch's garden, that's your unconscious. The rampions means your contents, something about you, some aspect about you that you don't know, it's repressed, it's unknown to you, it's buried like that. Dark, scary in there, witch, unconscious, forest, all this, which is how I felt with the mother, by the way. The wicked witch like that. So the mother was the stepmother, but you feel her as to be a witch. So these quotes are giving you can give us a lantern, night vision, night vision. So when we visit these unknown aspects about ourselves, we can try to see and reclaim, re-own, re-identify, refine. Lost and found, right? Lost and found. Find some aspect about yourself. So something you didn't know about yourself, now you want to accept it. You want to admit it, you want to accept it. That's taking the rampion over, back, and she ate it. So you're reintegrating, reclaiming, making back yours, because it was yours, got lost in the forest, you want to get it back. So hop over the fence, pull up the contents of your unconscious called rampions and eat the rampions. It's like this kind of gentle process back and forth like that. So that's one image of the rampion story. That's kind of like the process to get Rapunzel back from the tower and all this. So it's typically called shadow work. Okay, it's in the shadow like that, dark, unknown. Means something about you don't know anymore. You've forgotten. Your trauma you don't know. The gifts that you had, the gifts that belong to you, your talents, what's unique about you, it's undeveloped. It's yours, you lost it, want to get it back. Knowledge of your defense mechanisms, that's repressed. You want to identify that. Knowledge that if you're prejudiced, that's confession. So you want to, so there's so much in the witch's garden. There's a lot there. There's so much there. Just like at the back of the mind in the Disney film Inside Out 2, all those orbs there. There's so much there. Who you be, had you been loved, the ability to all the capacities of the real self, mutuality. In the cases of trauma before 18 months, gratitude will be there, making amends will be there. The regular, quote-unquote, more human side of being human is going to be there for many people, right? So, sting of personality patterns have a lot buried in the unconscious, a lot, right? They're only operating out of either be eating jungle slogans. Looking for love, don't get mother's love, mother ate them. It's not mother eating them, it's the image they make of their rage and greed. The mother's not going to eat them, but they think if I don't be greedy, my mother's going to eat me. But it's not their mother, it's the image of how they felt with her. But they're operating in a survival mentality. They're operating out of the point where the baby's struggling for a proper, secure relationship with the mother. The baby's operating He needs a basic need for security with the mother. He never got that, so he's in survival mode. Remember, the baby thinks he's a goner when the mother doesn't meet his needs. He's terrorized, he's a goner. So he's surviving, he's free, he's stuck at that in the prototype in the mind, and he lives like that as a reflection of that point. As above, so below. Maybe I should just finish. I'm mumbling my word. I noticed I've been kind of mumbling when I finished the coffee there. Coffee has such a negative effect on me. I've never had such a... If I drink one of these coffees, after the initial boost of enthusiasm or something, I start to mumble a little bit. Like I never had that before. Coffee's not a good sign. I need juice. I need guava juice. I miss it. I still miss it. It's been a year. It's been over a year since I had the good guava juice. It's gone. I don't know where it is anymore. So whoever, destroyed the guava, that's a reflection that they're saying, well, I didn't get nourishment, I didn't get good juice from my mother, I didn't get the mother's sweetness and natural sweetness and goodness from her, so I'll rob it because it was robbed of me. And the person doing it feels addicted and gleeful, feels all important and pompous and proud, He's listening up to fantasies that in the uterus, he's a little god. Man in the Mirror, Michael Jackson's song, Man in the Mirror. Know thyself, know the conscious self, know the unconscious self. Most of our authentic self is in that shadow unconscious self. And back to that story, the one about the Saturday one, about the double motif. They even had it in the script. The script writer put it in there. The fake self said to the authentic self, "Who are you? Are you the shadow?" Yeah, well, yeah. I'm the shadow, then I'm the soul, the anima. They said, and then I'm the authentic self, like little parts like that. So shadow, unknown, okay, your feminine element, and that's your authentic self. So I'm really mostly the person. You're this fake delusional thing. You're this BS ideas all the time. This neurotic stuff. You gotta go shatter away kind of thing. And he was fighting. So the metaphors, we have a resistance to get back to our authentic self. So the story showed the image of I want to keep my authentic self. I'm not going back to the fake self. So on Saturday, that fake self dissolved away, shattered away, like just dissolved. They mean like dissolved, dispersed, and dissolved away because it wasn't real. That's why it shattered away. It invisibly shattered away, kind of thing. Yeah. So someday, moan day, Tuesday, wound day, thorn day, free day. That's when your authentic self comes back. And then finally the remnants of your false self shatters away and you're grounded back in yourself. So that episode of the Saturday is meant to show you the journey like that. They only show you the ending. They don't show you how the authentic self occupied the condo. They kind of start the film there. It's kind of like watching the Odyssey, where when Odysseus arrives on the island, it's like starts like that, or he arrives at the house. Something like they only show you the ending of the Odyssey, basically, to make the point about the false self, true self, a battle at the end, right, kind of thing. I appreciate these guys letting me use this, so I usually go to the. I normally would do this in the restaurant, but it's packed all the time. So this is like the overfilled kind of space. Okay, where are we here? Let's see. This was 11, right? Okay, so the next video will be part 12. So we're getting towards the end of our 14 video special run on the work of Elaine Golem. Her two books called Trapped in the Mirror and Unloved Again. That sequel is very good, called Unloved Again. She had to self-publish it through a company called iUniverse, written as one word, just the letter I.com. Well worth the $3.99 to get her PDF file. It's an excellent little book. And so the quotes yesterday and today are from that book. And the next ones will be as well, yeah. I'm continuously surprised why she had to self-publish. She had to pay out her own money to put it. I was thinking maybe she did give it to a publisher. I mean, she's famous from the first book, the Trapped in the Mirror one. So why would she have a hard time if she's a bestseller? You know, it'd be like let's see. Yeah, I don't think Steve Perry would have to self-publish. Right? I'm sure someone would publish his new CD or whatever. So my theory, my working hypothesis is she showed the book to the publisher, and the publisher said, well, you kind of confuse people a little bit with this they and you and I. She did occasionally have a little, she was trying to be intuitive, she was trying to write freely a little bit. So she kind of left it like that. You can follow it, there's no problem. But maybe the publisher was being nitpicky about it. And maybe they asked her to fix it up or something. She said, you got to be kidding me, I'll just self-publish it. She's wealthy, New York, all this stuff, right? So she self-published it. It's not that well known. Her first book is a classic, Trapped in the Mirror, but that follow-up sequel is excellent. It's a 25-year follow-up to that first book, 2016, I think. So it's well worth the $3.99, the price of a coffee. So the Twilight Zone called it shadows of voices from long ago. She calls it constructs. Freezing parent, frozen child constructs. And anytime you get a dream in the morning, regard it as a letter from your repressed self, your secret self, your shadow self, your unknown self, your double self, the one who walks with you, who's not like you, who is you. Someone's living my life, I know nothing about him. Okay, this repressed self, double self. If you wake up and get a dream sequence to your consciousness, regard that as a letter from your authentic self to you, your soul to you. Your soul is saying, hey, conscious you, it's like this in your soul today. Well, thank you. Aha, it's like this in my soul today. And you take the dream sequence and just ride the broccoli boat. What does this suggest to me? What does this remind me of? I must have a very good reason for feeling this or thinking this. And just see what comes up freely. Now, normally when you get a dream sequence, it's trying to make you aware of some pattern in your life, some regular recurring issue in your life. It's trying to help you to feel something. It's trying to make you conscious of something, right? So so you want to cooperate with this idea, right? It tells you about your structure, how you get compensation for like wish fulfillment fantasies. Now, the dreams don't tell you things directly, obviously, right? So sometimes some things stand in for something else to make it easier for the person. Notice the main feeling. So TTAQ, you take a dream sequence, TTAQ. Give the dream a title. What's sort of the main theme? A for affect and Q for question. Make a question you think your repressed self, your secret self, your soul is asking you, TTAQ. And just do that every morning or 1 or 2 minutes, whatever, like that. So that's typically included in the healing journey, to reflect on what you remember in the morning. Don't deliberately set your alarm clock early so you can catch your dreams. I don't buy that. Just naturally, you want it naturally, because that's what's concerning you. That's what you either you satisfied a wish fantasy, or you're facing something. Then you woke up. Oh, we have one about the nightmares. Oh my God. What was it again? The Twilight Zone. There was one about the nightmares of the Twilight Zone. Oh yeah, the family one. Yeah, should we do that one a bit? 1 second. Well, I'll just mention it briefly. It's about family dynamics. A couple had 2 kids, first the daughter, then later the son. The problem was, like in as common the case is, the mother was cruel. She's a wicked stepmother kind of mother. So there's no loving mother there. So the daughter had no mother. Whoa. So the daughter desperately turned to the father for protection from the violent mother. So she did have a connection with the father and heavily depended on him. Now the father can't meet her needs in terms of what the mother's supposed to do, but at least the father can protect her to some degree. And if the father weren't around, she'd be terrorized, because she'd be eaten up by the witch image of his mother. So she heavily depended on the presence and connection, an ongoing, continuous, safe, reliable connection with the father as a sense of protection from the abusive mother. Okay, so she had that link with the father like that. Okay, then the second kid was born, a boy. The daughter didn't want him around. Get out of here. I don't want you to interrupt my link with the father. Get out. No, I don't want you, because if you interrupt the link with the father, I'm a goner. So she hated the son, didn't want the son like that. Yikes. Now the poor kid did nothing wrong, but he thinks he did something wrong. Did the kid do something wrong? When that second son was born, did he do anything wrong? Nonsense. But the daughter wanted him gone, so he felt there's something wrong with him. He blames himself. That's that. Okay, turn the page. Next scene, next case. The episode is a condensation of 2 cases. The next case is if let's say the mother rejects the daughter, let's say, and some mothers clingingly demand and engulf the son. Okay, so the mother has a daughter. The daughter reminds her of her. She hates herself. She hates her daughter, so she rejects the daughter. I don't want the daughter. Well, yikes! But the son comes. Oh, okay. She'll parentify the son, gobble up the son. The father sees this, and he freaks out. What on earth is going on here? Now, typically, the father says, I don't know what's going on here. I feel helpless about this. Fine, I give up. Sacrifice. You have him. Keep him. Leave me alone. I want my freedom. I'm going to go to the garage and play with my hobbies. So he rejects. He's helpless in this whole scenario. Okay. So for more on this point, go to the film called Overdependency from nfb.ca, nationalfilmboard.ca. Type in overdependency, over dash, hyphen dash, and then dependency together like that. That's the only copy that I could find from that original website. 1947 something. It's slow, but it's only 30 minutes. It starts off slow, but stick with it. You'll see it there. Or the father says, take him, leave me alone. Or better yet, read the self-help book, When He's Married to Mom, that one. The father says that he's frustrated like that. He wants his freedom, he feels helpless. He wants to placate and pacify the mother, so he sacrifices the son like that, okay, to the mother. Leave me free. He wants his freedom. Okay, another case scenario in that point is that the father sees this closeness between and all the attention, even though it's negative, but he thinks all this attention she's giving to the son, he might feel jealous. And the father wishes the son were gone. Hey, you're taking my wife away. I don't like this. Get out of here, son. Whoa, yikes. Okay, imagine these two burning scenarios into the mind of a boy. That boy grows up. Now he's trying to heal. He goes to sleep and has a nightmare. It's a recurring nightmare put into the form of a courtroom scene. And in the courtroom scene, he sees his father saying, you're guilty. Next night, he's the judge, you're guilty. And he always sees the father guilty, and he's always punished like that. Now, in the dream, he's trying to work through this. So at one point, he confronted the father in the dream. What did I do wrong to you? What did I do wrong? I don't get it. You keep saying I'm guilty. I don't get, what did I do? He wouldn't tell him. But he was trying to face this issue. He was trying to identify what crazy crime did this innocent boy do when he was born. He's always guilty. So he was kind of working that way. Now with the sister part, he didn't really address it yet. Okay, so he didn't figure it out with the sister yet. So the conclusion was he was still left with this nightmare, looping around. But it showed you this motif that this little boy did nothing wrong, but boy, was he burdened with deep sense of guilt. Always guilty. So he was experiencing the feeling that the father wanted him gone, that the sister wanted him gone. Whoa, he was getting these burning nightmares like this. That was in the Twilight Zone. Can you believe it? That was an interesting one. Hard to watch, of course, and there may be an issue of birth trauma blended in. I'm not sure. The other dream one from the Twilight Zone is the pilot that didn't get aired, but got saved and transferred over to another TV show called Westinghouse Desilu Playhouse, Season 1, Episode 6, called The Time Element. Another dream one. A lot of dream type of episodes. So in that one called The Time Element, it's about a shrink guy. It's about a shrinker man, right? He has a dream about himself trying to help another person, and that other person is him. So he's trying to help himself. Interesting. Good one, yeah. Good one, yeah. So he's having a dream about him helping himself. So layered kind of thing. So a lot of projection is involved in dreams. So somebody in a dream is holding some aspect of yours which you projected onto. So that shrink guy had a dream of himself analyzing a client's dream, and that client's dream, hang on. The shrink is having a dream, and in the dream bubble, there's the shrink helping some guy, and that guy is reporting his dream to the dream shrink. Okay. And in this layered thing, you got this belligerent character, which is the shrink's anger. So the shrink saw some photo in a bar or something, some angry guy in a bar or whatever, and just projected his anger onto that photo. And so he had the the dream shrink helping that angry guy with his dream, which is the shrink, which is the sleeper's dream issue. In other words, the shrink didn't really have a healing dream. He dreamt about having a healing dream, kind of thing. But in the process of the thing, we learn a little bit about dreams. What was that again? Oh, I forgot the quote. What was it again? Oh, Jesus. Oh, yeah. Okay, let me look it up. Yeah, I forgot. Symbols, manifest. So you dream about what's important to you, what's concerning you, that whole idea. There was a silly, fun one called Mr. Motivation. Where the employee was being abused by the verbally abusive boss and all that. So when the victim guy ended up taking his job, he became the boss. At first, he was imitating him onto others. And the doll, Mr. Motivation, said, that's not you. Ooh, yeah, oh my God. So it shows us how easily we pick up other people's traits and make it our traits. So he briefly, temporarily identified with the aggressor, but it wasn't his psychic structure. It wasn't his natural structure. He was normally a caring person, but when he got the boss job, he started acting like the boss because he was so exposed to the boss's verbal abuse. He imitated that for a little while. So this little doll called Mr. Motivation, well, bobblehead doll things, was just representing his inner voice or his true voice or something like that, trying to help him. So listen to your authentic voice, the part of you. Kind of like the comedy one where the heckler was the true voice of the person, the honest voice of the person. Let's see, what are we doing? How are we doing here? 6:30, holding up here. See, this is a shorter video, but it feels a little longer to me because I don't feel fully present today, so why don't I just maybe just end it up here. Let's just end it up here. Although it is Monday, it's not a bad, Monday, moan day. Yeah, today's a bit of a moan day Again, someday, moan day, Tuesday, wound day, thorn day, free day, Saturday. Now, if you watch the episode, keep in mind they spun it and made it in a cynical way. So remove the cynicism, try to keep the format a little bit, try to keep the model or something. It's an interesting way of discussing the double motif. So the author was talking about the double motif, but the producer co-opted it to engage in negative propaganda. There was one about the alien that was code for prenatal trauma. So in one story, the guy as a baby had prenatal distress syndrome, where the uterus was not a friendly place. Mother drinking, smoking, pills, whatever, baby not getting enough oxygen, mother listening to rock music, baby kicking, twisted the cord, not getting enough. He was fighting with the sea monster inside. So he thought the uterus was not a friendly place. Okay, point, prototype, grows up, the alien, okay. He says the universe is not a friendly place. So he was voicing this uterine trauma. So he was very cynical like that. So this guy, the alien guy with this attitude, was looking for flying monkeys, right? So he comes to Earth and says, all right, Earth, I need you to be flying monkeys. You're not good enough. Forget about you. I'll look for someone else. So another point about the alien is that for a baby to be traumatized, that's an alien thing for him. No baby expects his mother to abuse him. So he creates some kind of alien image in his mind. A monster, a sea monster, an alien, guy with the horns, frightening entity. So later on, if anybody talks about aliens or something, well, that's code for trauma. The belief in aliens is code for trauma. It's alien for a baby to be abused by his mother. So he has an alien image like that, some strange thing like that. A strange, incomprehensible thing. Plus, mother abusing the baby, it makes the baby feel alienated from himself, alienated from his feelings. So the alien kind of represents that as well. So in other words, anybody with the attitude that the universe or the world is not a friendly place, that's code for trauma at the breast or in the uterus time. Baba Yaga is pretty neutral. She'll respond to either of your beliefs or something. No, hang on. Yeah, okay, let's, I don't think I'm gonna find any kind of funny ending here. I'm still struggling with the after effects of this caffeine in me. Maybe in my enthusiasm to try to do a good job, I take the caffeine thinking maybe I'll do a better job. But I'm not fully appreciating the effects on me, right? Where is it? Oh, there it is. So if I do that, I'm coming from the frozen child place. Gotta save, help, fix, cure, whatever, that kind of thing. So if I recreate my ineffectiveness in that area with maybe the caffeine helps that, right? So the more, hang on. Well, I gotta buy something when I come here. That's the cheapest thing to buy, right? No, that's not true. They have the tea bags. I could buy one of the tea. Yeah, okay. I'm glad I talked about it. Next time I come here, I'm gonna get one of their tea bags instead. See, if I had a tea instead of the caffeine, I'd be speaking better now. I mean, more clearly, more coherently. Oh, hi there, boss. Yeah, hi. Okay. Oh, it's a nice guy. He's one of the staff guys here. Oh, yeah, unexpected. He's in a good mood. He looked like he's in a good mood. Gosh, that's great, eh? Yeah. Okay, where are we here? Let's see. Okay, so this is part 11 of a 14-part run on the work of Elan Golem, Trapped in the Mirror and Unloved Again, her 2 books. And in the next video, we'll do part 12. Should we take a peek at it? Let's see. Got it here. Where is it? That's 12, right? Let's see. Repetition compulsion. Repetition compulsion. Repeating the forms of anti-loving you received. The internal freezing parent supports your painful clinging to hope for receiving love from your latest unloving partner. Clinging to this hope is an aspect of submission. It does not refer to what you have experienced. Endlessly grieving over what you are deprived of and what will never happen is the grief of an unloved child. There is a sense of satisfaction in trying to please your freezing parent and your endless quest for its love. The repetition compulsion of falling for people who cannot love, or of your not offering love to those who do love you, is a work of fiction created by the bullying parent, which forces the child to comply. The frozen child sweeps you into an endless quest for what isn't offered. The freezing parent forbids you from seeking love from one who offers it. Under the guidance of these internal forces, you will never experience the fountain of love. To be caught in grieving for love never received, as if it once existed, traps you in a fantasy that is connected to denying your parents' abuse. Yeah, whitewashing their abuse. You're denying your parents' abuse. You're whitewashing your parents' abuse when you do this. The conscious adult needs to stop being guided by the frozen child, freezing parent. Okay. The conscious adult needs to stop being guided by the frozen child, which tells the adult to be guided by endlessly wished for love from one who cannot give it. So to get out of this codependency, okay, the conscious adult needs to stop being guided by this shadow of the past, this relic of the past called the frozen child, which tells the person to be guided by endlessly wished for love from one who cannot give it. You need to recognize the glue of denial that keeps you stuck. Give up a life of doing penance and seeking forgiveness for errors you did not commit. Give it up so that you can choose a loving partner. Children, okay, let's save this. Okay, similar kind of theme. Okay, let's pick a song to close up with here. Let's see. Let's find a song. Yesterday we closed up with Deli Rizdik's cover of "Carry On Wayward Son" by Kansas, right? And Pavlov's Dog, upcoming song called Wanderlust. Not wander, wonder with the O, wonder. I wonder if you wonder, wanderlust. Let's have a lust or a love for wondering, wonder. That's a conscious, making conscious when you wonder. It's a conscious, trying to make conscious. Wonder. Let's see. Chilliwack. We have one song by Chilliwack. Their big hit, Fly at Night. Street Heart. Got Star, Storyteller. Storyteller? Okay, just for fun, let's close up with Storyteller by Street Heart. So the classic rock band Street Heart, their second album is entitled Under Heaven, Over Hell. And the last song on the vinyl, it's only on the vinyl. When they moved it over, they took it out. So on the original vinyl, there's a song called Storyteller. On YouTube, you can see there's like a yellow cover for it. That's the only decent audio available. That one with it's just like a yellow screen or something. Called Storyteller. It's a fun kind of song. Great song. It's a great song. Storyteller. He means, he found a woman who lies. Like she's a great storyteller, a liar. You're quite a storyteller, and you're such a good liar. He was attracted to her to know that his mother was a storyteller, a liar. He's using the word storyteller like a BS teller, like that. So you look for people who are copies of your parents to find out how you felt with them. So he was enraged at the woman in the present, okay, at her lies like that. He did it so he can get the story of how he felt with the mother. Memory, repeating, working through. We don't remember that mother lied to us. So you find somebody who lies to you to help you remember that your mother lied to you. Storyteller, streetheart, under heaven, over hell. We'll close it up here for today. Thanks very much for the love of narrative medicine. I'll see you in part 12 of 14. Until then,